I'm Brandy Williams, founder of Williams Accounting and Tax Services in McDonough, Georgia. We're a full-service accounting firm proudly serving clients nationwide, including military families and U.S. expats. With over 20 years of experience as an IRS-enrolled agent, we've got you covered from past tax returns to business services and strategic tax planning. Visit WilliamsActTax.com. Let's get connected and take your finances to the next level.
What's up, everybody? This is your girl Erica from the Classic Client blog. I put this link in here. Book a call. That's what you can do this week. This week we're very interestingly busy. We just finished doing some paperwork, but peak earning versus peak reality. Africans pay to troll Black Americans. I always say, you guys, energy is so important, and how you use it is so vitally important. Again, we've juiced up today. We're gonna be. Listen, we juiced out right now. But listen, we're going to go into this show. Let's get into it. Okay. Drop your city and state in the chat. Let me know if you can hear me and see me. Hopefully you can. The microphone is right here. Hopefully it's close enough. I don't want to hold it. And yesterday's show, I had to cut it because I had really important call to take. And people were like, hey, you should cut the show. Like, we had been on for an hour and 13 minutes. Right. This isn't a 3-hour talk radio. This isn't Rush Limbaugh. This is like a show I do at the convenience and gift. It's a gift. The free videos are a gift, right? They're part of course, our sales funnel, but essentially they're a gift. Let me go here. Let me not make this show so sad. But again, I always tell people it's kind of a grow or die season. You know what I mean? Like what you're going to see in places in San Francisco, New York City, a lot of these cities are already showing you what's about to happen. Right? All the young people with families, like they leaving, they're trying to find somewhere else that's cheaper. So you're going to have a lot of 55 and up plus buildings. You're going to have physical, like older cities, right? Which will be less crime filled. You'll be like, oh, there's not a lot of crime. The city just looks old or not a lot is going on. Like you've seen in some retirement cities because there's not that many young people. You know, the data just shows young men equal crime, young white men, young Black men, young whoever. Equals crime. Okay. Older men, less crime. It just is a data thing. But they will start having higher property taxes. You already know this in New York. You'll have a lot of title theft as they have in New York with them folks stealing Black and brown and Latino people's houses. You already know what time it is, right? So what happens is in cities like San Francisco and New York, they're anti-growth. They just keep stacking more rules that some lawsuit said this is a good idea, right? They're anti-change. They don't want to change. Right? They're starting to go towards rent control. These are all things that are against high growth, right? You're not going to have a lot of growth. You're not going to have a lot of development. You're not going to have a lot of wins in a city that's trying to do a lot of rent control, that's trying to control, what people can do. You're just not. So right now they're trying to scare you like, don't come to Texas. Texas is going to run out of water. Yeah, it's going to run out. Then, okay. I'm not trying to be funny with y'all, but I want y'all to understand, if you look at the map of where people are moving, in the 10-year window, I've had, I'd say 12 years really, since 2012 that I moved to Texas, the amount of people I've watched leap in financial success has been crazy. I literally interact with people who have moved from Pittsburgh, moved from New York, moved from Colorado, moved from California, and they came to Texas, bought a home, changed jobs like 3-4 times, bought 2-3 other rental properties. Now you're gonna say, well, Erica, that's because you're in Austin and it's different. No, when you're in a city and state that has growth, you could be in any of the top 20 cities and states I keep showing y'all over and over again. When there's motion, you get more motion. When there's activity, you're going to have more income. People really try hard to kind of fight against this and talk about, well, these, someone made a comment the other day and I just blocked them off the channel. And he was like, yeah, these states survive because California. The people in California are smoking crack. They're smoking crack. They've been telling California with this propaganda that they're a donor state. Texas is a donor state. Texas is a donor state. Florida's about to be a donor state. Other than New York and California, there's other states that donate, that pay more in taxes than they receive. Duh. Like, don't be slow. Don't come in my comments and be slow. Don't try to argue with me on here. Because again, this is not a discussion. This is a gift. This is a gift. Okay. Again, you have to understand what's happening in our economy. They're going to do a lot of negative propaganda against Florida, against Texas, and against other places because people are leaving in droves. You're just seeing people on paper write down they're leaving. There are people in countless videos. I watch them. Y'all send me so much stuff. I'm watching them. I'm working. I'm watching them. I'm buzzing through them 2x speed. It's just a ton of black and white people leaving New York, leaving places and just moving. They just move with they pack up their car. They pack one U-Haul. They pack up a pod and they leave. That's it. Like so much so there's a service. Our friend owns a franchise. But his franchise doesn't allow him to do like long haul transfers of pods. And so he now has a camera system, right? He has a camera system over the pods, right? When people are like, hey man, I'm moving for a new job, new work. And he'll be like, no problem. I can't transfer the pod across state lines, but we'll work with whatever company you want us to work with. So then, the other pod people come and they literally have movers. He said that's one of his most popular services. People will pod up all their stuff in Texas or in California or in Seattle and say, I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back and I'm going to come get these things. I'm going to come get them. And they never come back because they're doing so well wherever they go, which is usually Texas and usually other cities, right? And states. And so they had to make this service because every week they were getting hundreds of people saying, I need to move the pod cross country for this job I got. And they'd be like, we can't leave our city. Our franchise doesn't let us. And that's how crazy. That's why when y'all tell me this data, like people like, yeah, all those people that left California came back. 90% of people that left California never returned. The DMV literally shows only 10% of people, the whole state of California, ever returned and got another California license. So you're trying to convince me that all these people came back to California and just drive around in Texas licenses and New York licenses and Colorado licenses and Arizona licenses and Las Vegas licenses? Stop it. Knock it off. Save that ridiculous for yourself. I just know how it's going down. I'm on a 6-month window. I don't care. I care because I want to save people as I jump out the window, of course, like no disrespect. But I know what's happening. Folks in white collar know what's happening. Folks that are paying attention know what's happening. Only people, I sat in Austin, Texas. We had 2 guys from Dale that we always talk about. I talk about a lot in the video. And they've both been making $150,000 for 10 years. And what's crazy is the one dude is sitting here buying rentals in Round Rock and Cal Butte, buying stuff near Houston. And everybody's like, oh, that's just so crazy. I would never do it. I would never do it. I would never do that. Oh my God, that's crazy. 10 years later, like I think 2021, we were talking at dinner. Was it dinner? Yeah, it was 2021. Between the 2 guys, they're both making 150 a deal. One's crying about his wife, the cost of living and how, oh, it's so terrible. And him and his wife, and they were brand new cars and a brand new house in Austin. The other guy who y'all been making fun of for the past 10 years has 7 rentals now. He's like, what money? What are you talking about? We make great money at Dale. And the other guy's like, oh, it's just not enough. Dale needs to pay us more. And I just started laughing because I realized everybody at the table is kind of saying, oh yeah, you need to get paid more. You've been there so long. Y'all both been at Dale so long. And I'm sitting here laughing because I realized you will be on the hamster wheel, right? Laugh at Robert Kiyosaki all you want. You will be at a hamster wheel making big money. And you'll keep going on vacations and you'll buy the cars and stuff because you have no long-term planning. The other guy, when they were like, yeah, we might lay you off at Dale, he wasn't even stressed. And because he was chill, a manager said, let me just slide you over to this other department. And that's what he did. And he took a pay cut. That's why I be laughing when y'all be sitting here like, oh, what are people going to do? They're not paying you enough to live. I'm like, no, they're paying you enough to live. It's what you decide to do with the money. 80% of this stuff for wealth is behavioral that you can control. So again, and every time I'm on these, everybody's like, well, Erica, it's hard to make it when you make $7.25 an hour. Baby, less than 3 million people in the whole United States out of 150 million working Americans make $7.25 an hour. So even if you take all the black people, 20 million black people that are working, which is more than that, but 20 million black people working, we still don't make the most minimum wage. We don't. Chick-fil-A is paying $14 an hour. Paying his young people $19 an hour. And you sitting here, and that's nationwide. That is nationwide. There are a few Chick-fil-A's pay less, but I think not New York, what is it? I think DC pays them 20. I think it's a couple of them that have real big lump sum money. But when I hear this stuff, I just laugh. And the fire, the guy, y'all, I've been watching some of the stuff y'all sent me about the fire, the warehouse that I ended the show on yesterday. And people are like, yeah, see, they should pay them more. What? The warehouse workers that work for a few hours a night get paid $50,000 a year in California. All they had to do was pay us enough to live. What? They interviewed one of the Hispanic guys. He was like, I was making real good money. I'm so sad. And guess what it is? It's a Middle Eastern guy. Again, these people that come from some of these overseas countries where they're giving them oil credits, giving them money to hush the young men up, they can't wait for those young men to get out of their country. They would love those young men to go all in Europe and tear up America, because if not, they're going to tear up the Middle Eastern countries. Okay? Let me keep moving. Let me keep moving. Let me keep this going. Because I already know. This is the most curious case to me. I'm going to show you this video just a little bit. This woman right here is very attractive. And there was a homeless woman that was attractive, and men were like, she could stay, even though clearly the woman has mental health issues. And people were like, I'll take her in because she was attractive. We have a bias in America that if you're attractive, you should never struggle. And that is hurting children. That's hurting adults. Just being honest, right? So this woman right here, beautiful woman. She's not the one I was talking about that's homeless, but she left her van life. And now she bought this house in the mountains, which is a trailer. And again, I have no disrespect with trailers. I have no problem with trailers. We have family members who own multiple trailer, it's like a trailer park with 5 trailers in it. So I'm not even trying to pretend like, oh, we're below, I would never live in a trailer. That's a lie. That's not even true. Okay. But I just want to show you, this is what's happening. We are assuming if you look good, life should be good. And that's how I know these people don't get out in the real world, because if you go to some of these events I go to, everybody in there ugly. The husband's ugly, the wives are ugly. I'm just sitting there like, God almighty. Where the nose jobs at? Okay. And you're like, damn, Erica, that's petty. It's just truth.
I am 43 years old and I just bought my first home. I know, it's not what you thought it was going to be. And honestly, it's not what I thought it was going to be either. It's not a typical home, and it's not what you think of when you think of a dream home. But for me, this is mine. She's a 1982 RV that has a built-in sunroom and deck, and I'm slowly converting it into my dream forest cottage. I bought her for $54,000 because I didn't want to be tied down to a huge mortgage or feel like my work was quietly dictating every decision I made in life. Because I've already lived that way, and I felt trapped.
Now you can go look at her page. You can go look at her information. She has an Instagram that's really juicy, and everybody's like, you look so good, you look so good, you look so good. Like they're just thirsting at the mouth, foaming. Like, you can get a house, you can go over here. I'd be like, y'all relax. Y'all are thirsty as hell on this motherfucker. Y'all are thirsty. It's dirty how thirsty y'all are, right? It's what she could afford. And there's nothing wrong with what you can afford, right? We have to really kind of understand there's people living month to month. If you live in month to month for now, you're in survival mode. If you can do about 6 months planning, you're starting to get out of the hole just a little bit. But when you can do 1 to 3 years, pretty good. When you can 3 to 5, 10 to 12, boom, right? And the way, the making high crazy money is for a season. Making wealth is a system. Don't get lost in there. A lot of people are like, well, I knew when, this guy played football, this guy played basketball, this guy played baseball, this guy was working at this one company. Most people peak out or make their highest money 40 to 55. That's most men and women too. And why are women making that much money when they get that old? Because their kids are grown. 9 times out of 10, their kids are grown. They're in grandma or auntie mode, right? At that point. And so you're talking to people who are making the highest money they've ever made, and they're crying. Oh, it's not enough, right? I want to tell y'all, I've been in rooms with people who have made $1 million, and they're like, oh, it's not enough. Erica, $1 million doesn't feel like $1 million anymore. And I would laugh inside, not in front of their face. But what people think when they make $1 million is they're going to live this extravagant, over the top, the riches of rich lifestyle. They're going to be in California and San Diego overlooking the beach in their mansion. You're not for $1 million. I remember telling people I made $400,000. They're like, you need to get a sports car. You need to get this. You need to get that. You need to get a truck. And I was like, yo, that's not enough money for that. And immediately they're like, oh, Erica, you didn't make that money. And I'm like, but I did. And I paid lovely taxes for it. And so when I start describing what big money actually looks like, if you make a mill, and I sat in some people's tax planning, courses and stuff, and the live trainings at the mastermind, there were people there who had made $1 million, took that $1 million and leveraged it to like 10 million between real estate, and they bought a business and they did some other stuff, all this stuff. They did a combination. Now, there are people in the room who made $1 million and were like, I just want to save it. And if we could just save it, me and my wife will be okay. There were people in that room who took $1 million and leveraged it to 10 and $12 million. And so I want to tell you, it's all about your mindset and how you look at it. And I know that drives y'all crazy when I say mindset, because they're like, oh, Erica, not that shit again. But I can also tell you how you can blow 20 million. This isn't picking on this guy. I sat through trainings, and when I interact with this guy, I said, nah, he don't want to do what it takes, because he's watching other people ball out and he doesn't want to do what it takes. So this is no disrespect to this guy. He just got sentenced to 7 years. God bless him. We're worried about him. Hope he stays safe. He's 5'5", but he's going to white collar jail, so he'll be fine. Now, if you ever want to understand, like, if you ever want to really, when they kept talking about everybody getting PPP, everybody going to jail, I want y'all to understand, it's not hard to not do crime. It's not hard. It's not. 99% of stuff you watch American Greed are great business ideals if they just would have followed the rules. 99% of it. Okay. So I'm just want y'all to see this, and I'm just going to say, like, I'm starting here, but I'm going to go back a page. Social media influencer is 6 years in prison for a $20 million palm screen tax fraud. Now, if I go back one, I'm going to just hit the back button just one time. Okay. Just one time. You can go on here, and there's a man in Dalton. He got 10 years. He was moving cocaine and methamphetamine from Las Vegas to Dalton. Okay. 47 years old. Now you about to go to jail for 10 years. You're going to be 57 when you get out. It's going to be rough. Okay. There's several of them. I mean, I can go down this for days. It's cybersecurity, cyber stalking, methamphetamines, 10 years. Listen, you want to play with drugs, you're going to jail for 10 years. They got a former financial advisor doing 5 years right here for an $8 million Ponzi scheme. This is in Ohio, y'all. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. This is Ohio. What the hell y'all doing in Ohio? Okay, so anyway, let me go here. Let me continue. Let me stay focused. Let me stay focused. All right, so here we are. Now this guy, and it's unfortunate. Okay, he's only 31. Okay, he's sentenced to basically 7 years, 6 years, and he received more than $23 million. Y'all, if I can tell y'all, I was in two groups. I'm trying to be careful how I talk about this, where essentially they help you get credit cards and funding. Okay. And I'm trying to be careful how I talk about this. And there were people from, hundreds of people getting 100K, 200K, 300K. Okay. And they were like, yo, what do we do next? And there were people in this group like, hey, you can either do what I'm doing, which is, crypto. You can do what I'm doing, which is stocks. The easiest one is y'all can do ticket resale, and then another couple things they offered, right? And when I was in there, I was like, let me just reinvest in my business. I know what y'all doing, but I'm good, right? And one of the guys in there was Tyler, and he was doing all this flipping in Ohio. But when I started listening to the numbers, I was like, baby, I know Beyond Win. I know all these people. I know, I'm not saying all the Ohio people I know, but I know a bunch of people in Ohio, and they numbers ain't them numbers you quoting. You quoting some numbers that don't add up, right? But I knew that because I had been in the industry, and I keep telling y'all, when you step your foot out here and you actually learn this industry, you can spot people telling y'all some bullshit a mile away. That's why people are like, yeah, I know she was this and she was that. I just laugh when they talk about me, because I'll be like, baby, I'm actually out here. I'm actually outside. You're not outside, and it's okay. You know what I'm talking about. So anyway, you go in here, and basically this is what really got him. Not that he was running this money, because let's just be honest, he's a white boy and he was running it up. It just was what it was. People donate to white people 10x times more than they will Asians, Indians, and blacks. It's a cultural thing. They feel more comfortable. Let's not knock it. Let's just say what it is. So he took, and this is what really got him. The IRS don't like when you play with them. He made 14 false and fraudulent 1099 tax forms. He reported interest for investors who did not earn interest. Then he claimed he reinvested the interest, the victim's money, when in fact he did not. Now, see, the IRS don't play about that. They don't. That you could have lied and took people money, and the IRS would be like, all right, the government would have been like, all right, here's 3 years in jail. But see, when you play with the IRS, they don't like that. That's why I always encourage y'all. If you're watching my channel, I say use QuickBooks, have amazing bookkeeping, pay somebody to do bookkeeping for you, because it's easier when you have clean bookkeeping. They can't get you on the $50 you spent at the farmer's market thinking you was at buying some lady of the night. If you got good bookkeeping, you can't. Just have good bookkeeping. That's all I'm gonna keep saying. Have good bookkeeping and you'll be good to go. Okay. And that's what messed him up. Now he bought 150,000 Mercedes SUV, various cryptocurrencies. He bought rental payments on condos in downtown Columbus. And the truth is, they add the money up and they're counting about $11 million. Where the hell did the other 13 million go? It's somewhere. I'm not saying he hiding it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's somewhere. But the government can't find it. They could only find 11 million. So let me keep on going down here. Let me go down here. Tayana Castro, same thing. Christopher Don, he's an Atlanta man in Atlanta. Okay, let's just go there. He's guilty of wire fraud and theft of public funds, right? He fraudulently received 2 refund checks. One for more than $32 million by falsely converting 2 businesses' IRS accounts to his name and address. After receiving these tax refund checks, Dalton traveled to Ohio and attempted to negotiate the funds into a brokerage account in his name. You was in Atlanta scamming. You drove your stupid ass to Ohio and tried to open a Sir, take the 32 million and leave the country. Leave the country. Leave the country. Okay. Now here's another one. Angela and Shonda. I'm not gonna stay here all day. I just want to tell y'all what's going on out here. Big numbers, big real numbers. They ran a home health care, and it was called Free to Be You Residential Services. It provided services to disabled adults. Now, the problem is they failed to pay overemployment taxes. They withheld from employees, totaling $400,000. They were charged, and they will also be going to jail. I don't know how long they're going to jail, but they're going to jail. Again, you can read these all on your own and enjoy these. These are, I know y'all love watching channels that talk about fraud and shams and skit. I know y'all love it. I know y'all love it. Okay. So go read it directly from here. Don't go watch YouTube channels that are like, yeah, they're frauding. Shit, you can read fraud all day if you really want to read, which I know motherfuckers don't like to read, and that's okay. You could just get laughs and giggles out of this shit. You literally will be like, that is dumb. That is dumb. All day. You be tired. By the time you read this stuff all day, you'll be exhausted because it's that dumb. Same thing here. Former financial advisor sentenced 5 years in prison for running the $8 million Ponzi scheme. Over 20 years. He's 65 years old, y'all. He's 65. Does he need to do 5 years? I don't know, but he's 65. From 2003 to 2020, he moved the client's money. Sorry. He just did all kind of stuff. He paid payment on real estate, paid insurance. He paid for his lifestyle. Okay. Now what happened is somebody died. And they were like, hey, where our money at? And he had stolen the money, y'all. He stolen it. Okay. So you can go read. I mean, there's just all kind of stuff on there. You can get lost. Now, let me go here. This is him, y'all. This is not me gloating or anything. This is him. And what I noticed is when he was quoting numbers and things, they didn't add up. And when he would interview people, you could tell the shit didn't add up. So you can go into this rabbit hole by yourself if you want to. Okay, you can go into this rabbit hole by yourself. Again, same thing here with her. She's hilarious. She's just reading. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And I'll play a second, like 2 seconds.
Anyway, have you ever heard that saying?
Oh wait, I got on sped up. My bad. Hold on. Let's bring back down the speed. I know everybody don't listen to that, right?
Can do those who can't teach. Remember that when somebody on the internet is asking you for money, okay?
I'm a serial entrepreneur and investor. The past decade, I've helped co-found multiple 8-figure businesses, built a 9-figure investment portfolio in real estate in the new digital economy, all while helping thousands of people reach financial independence. Are you ready to end your victim mentality, eliminate financial restrictions, and grow generational wealth, or are you doing all of this for nothing?
All right. Why did I show y'all that? I'm just showing y'all all he had to do. All he had to do, y'all, was keep buying, pay the contractors, and flipping real estate in Ohio. Ohio just experienced in the past 6 years a huge financial windfall in that Cincinnati and Columbus area. And they were working with one of the flippers. And I realized this black flipper was like, yeah, I don't work with him no more. And I called him on the phone. I said, why you don't work with him no more? Oh, man, I don't want to talk about it. You know, he just didn't pay for any of these bills. And I said, y'all buying properties in parts of Ohio for 15 to 30K, putting 30K rehab on him, and he didn't pay? Interesting. There are 2 or 3 girls. I'm not going to point them out. They're white girls, and they went to Ohio to go to nursing school. Now, she changed her story and said something else, but we all know she went there for nursing school. And now she owns like 7 rentals. And then she went on back to California and started investing in Cali. Ohio can be cheap, depending on where you're at. But when you talk to somebody, you realize, oh, this person don't really want to do that kind of work. They don't really want to do the work. Keep it moving. That's all. That's why when people act like, oh, blue collar, there's some black guy, somebody, one of y'all sent it to me, where he was like, I don't want to be a plumber. I don't want to get my CDL. I don't want to do anything. I want to follow my dreams. And yes, I'm living at my mom's house. And then somebody said, y'all, he was a drug dealer that got caught, did 10, I think 5 or 7 years instead of 10, and came back and talking about he wanted to follow his dreams. No disrespect, bro. But if you go to jail and you come out, your next best thing to do is a job in blue collar. They don't care. They'll train you and take your ass on. Like stop making this difficult. This doesn't have to be difficult. This can be very easy. And I know y'all think I'm oversimplifying these things. I know y'all think I am. But I literally have people in blue collar who are calling me like, I got an extra 100K. What do I need to do with it? I'm like, what? Yeah, what do I need to do with it? How can I invest it? I want to retire. And I just be sitting there like, well, first of all, don't run around telling everybody you got this money. But secondly, A, B, and C, walk me through what you're planning. Okay. So let me go here. Something to think on. One way somebody tell me they're a great parent, they're an amazing parent, and their kid can't tell time or write cursive, I know they lying. Erica, no, don't say that. Listen, we literally bought the little cursive books that you can get from the teacher store, supply store, the little parent supplies, homeschool supply store. You can get them at the damn Home Depot, Office Depot. You can get them at all those places. And gave them to our nephews to see if they could write in cursive, and to our other little cousins. And they could. It's not that complicated, but let's go ahead.
They didn't ban cursive, but they did remove it from the Common Core standards back in 2010, and then schools followed. So like my son's in junior high, he was never taught cursive. So I think it's either one of these. So AI cannot decode cursive. I just found this out. It's one of the only things AI cannot decode. So were they preparing us? Like, were they getting ready for that? Or is it the fact that all of our historical documents, our declaration it's all in cursive? So is it to like dumb us down, like so the next generation won't be able to really understand the laws or read the laws or know these things, or just to make it harder? Like it has to do with something, right? Like they didn't just stop teaching cursive for no reason. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I used to wonder why they stopped teaching cursive in school, and now I think I'm onto something. So they didn't ban cursive, but they did remove it from the Common Core standards back in 2000.
For sure. These are all things you can test. He's like, hey, I can read cursive. Okay, cool. No problem. Hey. Have you seen doctor's handwriting? We always joke about, my mom and dad say, Eric, you got doctor's handwriting. You know what I mean? Basically mean you had messy handwriting. I just bought a country music album CD. It's from Ella. And it's in cursive, the whole thing, front, back, inside, the internal. And some of the complaints online are like, it's in cursive, I can't read it. So I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, I just want people to understand that there's something to writing in cursive, and your kids should be able to read it. And all our laws and special things are in cursive. So let me play this next one. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, today's show might be a little bit all over. I have some business components I want to talk about, but I'm just getting through some of the stuff. Okay, so here we go.
Of generational wealth in a short period of time. Let me explain. If you drive a diesel truck, diesel price is $5.25 a gallon in Texas yesterday, where diesel is generally cheaper than the rest of the United States. And they say it's because of the Iran war or whatever the case may be. But let's be real. We don't get any of our oil from that area. So we don't get any of our gas from that area. And didn't we just get a shitload of that stuff from Venezuela? Why are they price gouging us? Ladies and gentlemen, this is COVID 2.0. See, when they tried to get us to lock down in 2020, most people were obedient. But there were folks like myself and millions of others who were like, oh, hell no, we ain't doing any of that stuff. So they found out that they couldn't psychologically trick us into staying home and altering our lifestyle. But if you want somebody to stay home, that means for them not to move around. And if gas goes to $6, $7, $8, $9, $10, $11, $12 a gallon, which is where it's headed, guess what? You ain't gonna be able to drive around anymore because you can't afford it. I'm doing my annual burn on the ranch. Usually we use diesel to burn this stuff. Had to use hay this time. Can't afford to use diesel. So they're gonna continue to drive these prices up until you and I go, holy shit, I'm staying home, man. I'm not driving to Dallas. I'm not driving for family vacation. I'm not getting on an airplane. Have you seen tickets because of the cost of jet fuel? And you'll stay home because most people won't be able to afford to leave. You know, one minute they say we get 0% of our oil from that area. And then the next minute they're like gas prices through the roof. And I already made a previous video about who owns the gas companies and why they would also rip us off for no damn reason. But the lockdown is the real reason. And they'll never tell you that we're locked down. They'll just make transportation prices so high that we'll have to lock ourselves down. You know, when everybody was locked down in 2020, what nobody was really focused on was all the 5G networks that they put in during that time. I saw them build one right outside my office. Makes me wonder what they're building this time. So gas prices are bullshit. They're artificially inflating them so that you and I are forced to stay home. But the lockdowns aren't even the big problem.
Okay, so yeah, you go look at Ryan. He's hilarious. I knew what was up when he started switching over to political conversation, but also kind of closing down his office, doing closure capital. He made a ton of money off of educating blue collar guys. He has a whole thing called Blue Collar Millionaires, put together a bunch of blue collar company owners who bought other people's companies. I knew what time it was. I knew what was going on. And so anyway, I think he got married with this is his third marriage. He's been with her 11 years. He got 4 kids. He adopted some of her kids. But, you know, when he bought that farm in Oklahoma, I already knew what time it was. And I keep telling people there's this shift happening, right? He sold this building, et cetera, and it was long, hard 3 years for him. And I keep telling people, like, everybody I know that's at a certain income bracket, they have a hobby farm. Now we call it a hobby farm, but 9 times out of 10, the farm does produce things, but it also not just be a hobby farm, but it also gives them amazing tax breaks. And what happens is, I mean, again, I'm not going to speak on taxes like this in this particular angle. You can always book a call with Brandy and have these kind of conversations with her if you so choose. What happens is when you become a business owner and you make a certain amount of money and you start knowing there's a stabilization moment. I'm going to keep making this amount of millions every year or this, hundreds of thousands every year. How can I mitigate taxes? And the only way is really honestly through, and it's not the only way. I'm just giving a gross overstatement here. So do what you want to do with that. Farms, elderly homes, home healthcare businesses, anything with children like daycares, there are massive tax incentives and government programs that give a lot of money for those. So do with that information what you will. Okay. Do with that information what you will. But what you'll notice is anybody, when they start making a certain money, hey, look at this farm I bought. I already know at that point you got some money. You got some real money. You've been consistent with the money. Once I see this, right? Everybody thinks farming is poor and they in the country and I feel bad for them. They po asses in the country. Nah, when I start seeing you own a $3 million house in the city and then another, $100,000 house in the country, I already know what time it is. I know what time it is. All right. So that's just my little bit of 2 cents on that. And y'all can do with that what you will. And you can go look at his rants. He's very hilarious. But he, what's funny is he hasn't been wrong on a lot of this. So let me keep moving. Here we go. I like this one. Have you ever talked to parents and they're like, oh, I can't bring my kids to dinner because they don't know how to act. I can't bring my kids over here because they don't know how to act. I can't bring my kids over here because they don't know how to act. I can't bring my kids to the restaurant because they don't know how to act. And every time I hear that, I go, but that's your job to teach them how to act outside of just going to school and being at your house. If your kids are taking their clothes off in the restaurant at 5 years old, it's because you haven't taught them how to act. Simple as that. You haven't taught them how to act. That's on you. That's the whole point of being a parent. You have to take these kids to the grocery store, to boring places, to walk around so they can know how to act. Okay. Before I go on to this one, though, I'm going to see what you said here. Over the years, 1 to 2 gas became normal. The new 3 to 5, the charts show it. Watch Landman. There's $1 billion industry. They can make it whatever price they want. Hell yeah. The prices drop as fast as they rise. Yeah. You breeze through TSA. Hey, man. I drive electric. I haven't thought about gas price in 5 years. Man, the thing about it is I don't want to drive a microwave. I don't want to sit in a microwave, and I don't want to drive it. Every time I see them Tesla videos and they got the beep, 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 I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. They're like, Erica, that's you being dramatic. I don't want to test it. I'm good. I don't want to sit in a microwave. Private oil investment and repo company. People are stop paying on them tax cards. Listen, I already know what time it is. I don't want to drive a phone. I'm pretty much at a point now where I want an old Bronco, an old Jeep, but I'm not going to get an old Jeep. I'm going to get a newer Jeep just because I know the death roll and the stuff with the old Jeeps. They just don't really take good care of them. An old Bronco and an old Ford. Once I have those, everything else is cool. It's cool. Everything else is nice. The Porsche stuff is we'll talk about that another day. Let's go here.
The behavior issues that teachers are seeing worldwide. First is stamina. Kids used to have to go run errands with grandma for hours, or sit in church for a really long service, or listen to grandpa and all of his war stories and then help him clean out the garage. And they weren't entertained. They had to be bored and they had to survive. Children are literally crawling through their skin if you try to give them like a 5 to 10 minute lesson. Next is accountability. You used to act up at like the community pool or in the library. There were adults around you that would, frankly, snitch on you to your mama. And it mattered. Reading a room. Whoa, reading a room. Okay. You see everybody lined up? Go line up. You see everyone had out their coloring supplies? Get out your crayons. You see people are going to the rug, or they're working on a project, or they're raising their, what? This is discernment. This is a tough one because kids are having a really hard time trying to figure out like who to trust, who to avoid, when to lean in on something, when to hang back, and just being able to like judge a situation for themselves. Let's say is decorum. Just knowing how to act differently depending on the space you're in. Like once you walk into that space, like a barbershop, like a library, like a church, like a school, like a sporting event, you need to know how to behave differently depending on where you're at. Adjusting that behavior without needing a lecture, hard for them. Conflict resolution. Knowing how to be upset, handle the situation, come to a compromise. And here's the key. Move on. Not dwell, but move on. Lost art. Here's my theory on the deconstruction of third spaces and why it's directly correlated to the behavior issues that teachers are seeing worldwide. First is stamina. Kids used to have to go run.
So again, these are things that like I would take my nephew's places. I have to go here, I have to go there. I'm telling you, I would go into DMV, I would go into doctor's offices, and there are literally always, I'm not going to say it's white moms because it's not been white moms. It's been black moms with a 2-year-old there with no paper, no pen, no nothing. She on her phone, not paying no attention. And they get mad when you acknowledge the kid, like, hi. And they be looking at you crazy, like, why the hell are you talking to my kid? You be like, bitch, you should be talking to your kid, but you're not. Okay. So this show probably has to go private. I already realized that. But 9 times out of 10, if you bring a sheet of paper and a crayon, nobody has a problem. What I've noticed is kids will come in somewhere and they're like, use your inside voice. The other day we were at Myrtle Beach, and it's been spring break, so kids are everywhere. We're in a restaurant and the kids have a football in their hands. They dropping it. They crawling all under the table to get the football. They moving around. They throwing the football in the air while people are eating at a seafood restaurant. This is the time as a parent you should say something. But I already know as many black people's in that restaurant. If you say one thing to one of them black kids, now you got to shoot their mama in the pinky toe. Now you got to shoot they mama in the pinky toe because they cannot handle anybody correcting ludicrous behavior. They just kids. No, they're people. They're like 10 years old, 8 years old. They're a big ass kid. If a cop came in here and he pew-pewed them, you'd want us to do something about it. Okay? They gonna fight you. They're gonna fight you. Okay? Like that's the world we live in at this point. When I see if it's too many black people in the room and I see kids acting up, I don't even say nothing. I was at the grocery store food line. This man had his whole ass out. I'm talking about underwear stuck in his crack. And he was sagging to the point where I want to say, can you at least pull the drawers out your ass if you're going to have your whole crack out? And the young man ringing him up, very suburban little black boy. And I said, boy, damn, I didn't know we'd have our whole ass out now. And he busted out laughing so hard he could not contain himself at the register. He was like, ma'am, I can't say anything. I said, you ain't got to say nothing. We all see this grown ass black man with his ass out. Those type of people, they don't have a good life. The shit, you got a wedgie in the store sagging. Sir, get your life together. Get your life together. You know, and I know I see some of y'all comments, Erica, this is respectability politics. No, you should know how to act. I shouldn't have to tell you to be quiet. I shouldn't have to tell you to not yell in the store. I shouldn't have to tell you how to act, but this is what we're living with. Even when they talk about black people being on FaceTime and not having their phone to the ear. This one dude, it's like a he's in neurology, but he was talking about how take the phone away from your ear, right? You know, use headsets and all this other stuff, wired phone stuff. And this guy in the comments was like, well, black people been talking loud as hell on the speakerphone all the past 10 years. And honestly, I can't even, half the time I'd be like, I wish y'all stop saying bad stuff about black people. But then I'd be like, yeah, that should Asians be out there speakerphone. If y'all ever go to Asian Town, they be on their speakerphone loud as hell. Like, go out there and see them. It's crazy. It's crazy. Dale Wamsley calls them purple Martian. Is Dale Wamsley? I think that's what Lifestyles Unlimited. Is that who we're talking about? Dale Wamsley. Oh, okay. Let me keep moving. Yeah, it's real crazy. It's real crazy, and it's so sad because when people are sitting here saying America's so racist, you can't even be yourself. It's not about you not being yourself. It's like there's a time and place for everything. And the bar is so low, y'all. I went somewhere and I was talking to the white people at the bank, and they were just like amazed. I'm not even trying to be funny. I had my paperwork and I had some plans, and I was like, oh yeah, I just want to, I got to follow up with this person. They're like, wow, you do that? That's amazing. And I had my cowboy hat on and my blue jeans. They're just like, where you live? Where are you from? I'm like, I'm from the Carolinas. For real? You just talk so well. And that's how low the bar is, y'all. It's just so long. It's so long. It's so low. It don't make no sense. Okay, that's all. I'll just teach your kids how to act in public spaces. That's what this whole thing is about. This is another young lady. I like her. Before I go into conversation, I like her. I like what she's doing. If you're in my land bank class, we'll talk about this video. And I think the end of the month, the end of April, we'll do a really cool training in land grab course, which is community, but about marketing yourself so that you make money off of the flipping and the land. We'll talk more about it in there. We're gonna, we got a few offers that we're gonna do at the end of the month. We'll see how we're gonna do them out, but we have one where for the middleman and millions people, we're only gonna do 10 people. It depends on the city you're into. I ain't gonna lie to you. There's a 1 or 2 people I already have in mind inside the group I think will be really good for this. And we'll just go ahead and run up your Google page management, business management. We'll go ahead and run up your leads, and we'll just go ahead and get you an AI landing page because our team has just been practicing on them, a bunch of different pages and running ads. So we'll just sell them to you instead of selling them to strangers, like just the first 10. We're just going to do 10 of y'all. And that way, this summer, you're busy, you're booked, you're making money. And you can tell everybody else in the Middleman and Millions group, hey, Erica's leads work. This worked. Because I already know we've run it up for ourselves. We practice it, and we sell one of the leads to a plumber right now. And I just know how it works. So I'm going to do it for my students, and that'll be kind of as I sell out for the summer. And our last couple of events we do this summer. That will be fun. So That's what I'll do. But this is an example of if you're a woman in this industry, which she does great, just prepare yourself.
To be done 2 days ago. It's not. Why am I even here? I'm here because you're asking me for money. They're always asking for money, even when they're not done with the job. I've already said, no, I'm not giving you any money until the bathroom is done, which is what made me come over here. Let me just see what they got going on since he's asking me for money. And don't even get me started on how they tore up the mother freaking yard. But this is the part that nobody talks about. So I'm going to start giving it to y'all raw, because managing these contractors, they will try to test you. You have to stand on business when dealing with them. Some days it's smooth, some days it's not. Some days my wig gets snatched off of my head. I still love what I do, but you got to have the patience and you got to be ready to deal with it. So should you be scared to do a fix and flip? Absolutely, you should be mother freaking scared. No, I'm just playing. You shouldn't be scared, but you definitely need to be prepared, because ain't nothing about this shit easy. You're going to put in work to make this money. Now back to the bathroom. Now he's saying he's for sure he's going to be down with the bathroom tomorrow, because guess what tomorrow is? Tomorrow is Friday and they want to get paid. He got to pay his guys. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. This is the shit that nobody talks about that you have to deal with when you flipping houses. I pull up and this ninja laying down on a date. Are you kidding me? They wasn't expecting me. And this is why you got to always go and check up on your projects.
So I'm going to tell you what you already did wrong. It don't matter if you're sitting in the house doing cold calls, bullshitting on the phone. They should be like, damn, she here. Oh my God, let me get myself together. You should be there popping up on them daily. Because when people realize there's no one managing the job, they know they can do goofiness. They know. So I'm not giving the page away. I'm not even going to front on y'all like that. I'm not giving these landing pages away. They're actually stuff we sell. It'll either be $350 or $500, and we'll let you work it for 45 days. Well, like that's the whole point of Middleman to Millions, is kind of teaching you how to make these businesses work. And a lot of people are going to say, well, Erica, how do I get leads? And so we're just going to make sure you have leads to kick off strong. That's all. And so we'll talk more about it inside Middleman to Millions. We'll put it in there once we have the offer fully together. I'm excited about it just because the one plumber I know, he really likes it. And he's like doing 2 new jobs every couple of days. He'll be like, yeah, it's really working. Thanks for the, page or whatever. And then he's already paid his invoice for next month. So I know it works. So I'm not really worried. We go here. There was were we doing Digital Liberty Warriors today or Land Bank? I think we're doing that. Because Wednesday is one group and Thursday is another group. Who's Thursday? I think Land Grab's Thursday. I got to go check the calendar, Jasmine. I'm not certain. Got to check the calendar. But if you guys want to check out here right here. She's a realtor, flipper. She also survived cancer. Like go girl, So just, check it out. Again, go look at it. Again, this is one of her most popular videos. I think it's got like 500,000 views. I'm sure it's not.
Run to Home Depot right now. I just got all of this tile for $2. That's good. Winning. My total is only $2.
$1.88.
Oh my God, I'm so happy.
I bet you are.
That white lady ain't even happy for her. That's the funniest part. So why am I bringing this up? Dummies in her comments already are like, I called my Home Depot. They said they throw it away. Please don't be that dumb. Please don't be that dumb. Like I called. No, don't call. I used to work at Lowe's, and every year we need to make room for inventory space. And some stuff we just start putting it out there. And we put it for, pennies on the dollar. We have a whole like demo wall, or what we call scratch and dent wall, in the back of some Lowe's, not all Lowe's. That was good. It'll be a washer and dryer somebody brought back. It didn't work like they want. They just had it 2 days, or the guys installed it. They don't like it. They want to send it back. And we'd have to take $400 or $500 off stuff all the time. Dummies in the comments like, oh, I called my Home Depot. No, this is something you have to get up and drive over there. I want to tell y'all something, and y'all not going to like this. A lot of the reason y'all don't have no motion is y'all sit online all day thinking you're going to get motion from the computer. Unless you are a producer of content like me, the motion doesn't come from the computer. The motion comes from you getting your ass up and being in the place. Either that's Home Depot, either that's Lowe's. Let's say you're a barber. You ain't making no money not barbering. Okay. If you're a mobile barber, that's one thing. If you're a mobile detailer, that's one thing. The motion comes from you getting in your car and driving around. Even when I'm in the land grab course and I'm telling people, okay, drive around your neighborhoods. Well, I can do all this on the GIS, on the computer, Erica. I can look on Google Maps. Baby, get your ass in the car and drive for an hour. And somebody, this was last year we were talking about this. And people like, gas prices, Erica. Baby, you ain't ready. You in survival mode. If you're talking to me about gas prices for an hour's worth of driving neighborhoods and writing down what you see as distress and writing letters, good luck. Good luck, baby. You about to have a rough summer. Good luck. But yeah, go check this out. She saved $4,000. Just being honest, like that's very common because it costs money to run the machine that crushes up the when you have inventory and stuff. You can't just put it in the back in the trash can. You have to literally crush it. Don't be silly, y'all. This white man gave all these fake tears. This is ridiculous.
An Avon contractor was sentenced just hours ago to 4 to 5 years in prison. 51-year-old Jeffrey Crawford is the owner of Cleveland Custom Homes. He pleaded guilty to several charges in connection to 2 fraud schemes totaling nearly $3 million. He was also ordered to pay restitution to the victims. An Avon contractor.
Get everything in writing. Get everything in writing. Never pay 50%. Even when we have agent be like, what about 40%, 30%? Nah, fuck that shit. Don't do it. Okay? Don't do it. Okay? Don't do it. You need to go see their work. You need to see copies of their work. You need to be on the job site. No disrespect. Houses in Detroit, Cleveland, Ohio, some parts of Illinois. These be 30K homes. Do all of them need 100,000 to bring them back to life? No, a lot of them need 30 or 40. So if you're out here giving people all this money, it's crazy. It's crazy. Okay. Facts. I got my current role for my tech channel and posting it to LinkedIn. There you go. There you go. Let me go on to the next. I know I have a lot that I'm showing y'all. That wasn't, the point, but we're gonna do it. It's not a quick show today. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. Okay, you can go check out his page here. He's similar to Xavier, similar, working in white collar, you know what I mean? You can go look at it, you can go follow it. Not born into this, but Xavier is actually born into this. So Xavier is switched over to blogging format because he's like, this is ghetto. I don't have to talk to people. People are stupid. And it's kind of funny. And so what happens, oh, y'all didn't hear it? Oh no. It didn't play. Hold on, let me stop here. Didn't hear it. Oh no. Darn. Okay, let me go again. Let's try it again. Let me try it one more time. So sorry. Let me know. Listen, let me know if y'all hear it. Let me go here. Boom. This is Mason. Let me go here back to where he was at.
Your relationship to time says a lot more
Let me know if y'all can hear
than
it.
you could imagine. Today, we build on the topic of distance from economic necessity from French sociologist Pierre Bourdieu, which is the idea that the more your material conditions free you from worrying about survival, the more your taste can orient itself around form, beauty, and meaning rather than pure function and utility. But this time I need to introduce to you American sociologist Thorstein Veblen, who is renowned for his 1899 text, The Theory of the Leisure Class. And while this text is definitely dated, this idea by Veblen has tracked across centuries, and it's that the most powerful signal you can send is being visibly unconcerned with necessity. And he identifies several mechanisms through which distance from economic necessity gets demonstrated by the elite. First is conspicuous leisure. This is the display of non-productivity as status. It's more than just having free time, but being seen to have it, and filling that time with activities that signal cultivation without utility. Examples could be learning Latin, riding horses, knowing the canon of paintings, playing certain instruments. These ideas are a combination of a few different things that work together to send a message. They are often technically demanding, requiring long cultivation. They're functionally useless in that they produce nothing tradable, and they're socially legible. They're read as high status by the relevant audience. The idea is that these things announce, I have never had to choose between feeding myself and developing this knowledge. The next concept is conspicuous waste. Veblen claimed that waste itself was a status symbol, and not just monetary waste, but waste of time and effort and attention as well. It's the ability to consume more than is necessary, to take the longer route, to use the more expensive material, to spend more time than the task requires. And the idea itself is a simple one. If you have nothing to spare, your instinct is to optimize. You go for the efficient route, the practical solution. But waste by definition requires surplus of time, of money, of attention. And this is what the leisure class has that the laboring class does not. But within this idea, Veblen makes the distinction between waste that is visible as waste and waste that has been aestheticized, which deserves its own video, so if you want that, please like and follow. But the quick version is that there's a clear distinction between crude waste, like a loud sports car, and aestheticized waste, like a watch that requires weeks of handwork by a craftsman to produce an object that tells time less accurately than a $20 quartz movement. Now, the last mechanism is something called vicarious leisure. Now, this is quite the concept to wrap your head around, but the argument is this. At a certain level, your own conspicuous leisure is no longer enough. You have to demonstrate it through others. That the size and composition of your household becomes a theater of leisure with multiple performers. Veblen's examples included the wife who doesn't work, whose refinement reflects her husband's capacity to exempt her from productive labor, and the house staff who perform elaborate ceremonies, setting the table with excessive silverware and maintaining rituals of formal service. Their time is being wasted on your behalf. Now, this is just an overview, but in future videos, I'll be talking about each one in much more depth. So if you want to be the first to know, please like and follow, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Your relation.
Okay, you can go look at his page again. Same thing I said. I don't know if you heard me when I said this stuff about Xavier and the difference in between him and Xavier. Like Xavier is actually born into it in the Texas, but not this guy. But you can do a lot of things through white collar. If you're quick to learn and quick to pay attention, if you have attention to detail, you can read the room. That's why I say a lot of times these younger kids are cooked because they can't read the room and they can't adjust. And no one's ever told them to pull their pants up, and no one's ever told them to change their hair. And I mean, I was at Myrtle Beach and I was like, there's so many locks. You know, a few years ago, these same Black people had curly hair like me, right? It was cool to be natural. Now everybody's doing the locks. In a few years, it'll be something else. And so when I see that stuff, I'm always like, 80-20, right? You'll always have 80% of married women working because, you know, in a nice way, I'm trying to say it in a nice way, you know, they're They don't realize what they don't realize. Let's just say it that way. Let's keep it moving. Right. And their situation may force them to work as a wife. You just never know what people's situations are. They may force them to work as a wife. You may have to just do it. So I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna just say that and just kind of just put that there. Okay, let me go here. Again, I know y'all like, Erica, don't talk bad about the blacks, but just a little bit more. So sorry, just a little bit more. Apologies in advance.
Banishing them. And the ignorance, the level of ignorance, and the way that these niggas continuously praise the streets as if the streets have provided health care and jobs to the black community, and the bragging of the slaughter of our own kind. These niggas need to be shamed into total darkness where they're embarrassed to open their mouths. You should be embarrassed to open your mouth, and your ass should be in jail. You should have your ass in jail where you can live out your street fantasy and worship Boosie and I guess the old Gucci man. And Boosie, I've said this before, you got all that beautiful land. Please, man, use your land and bring all these niggas on the land, on your land, where they can live their street fantasies and shoot each other and rob each other and pray to the altar of street culture. Because the nigga fatigue, the level of nigga fatigue that I'm at right now is insane, right? And it's almost like I believe now, you know, I'll be doing service to the community by putting niggas' asses in jail, because this is where he's begging to go. He wants to be there. He wants to be there in that little cell. He want to be wrestling or tussling with niggas because this is what he's crying out for, right? You know, when you have like a rabid dog or a sick dog, you put them down. You don't let them just ravage and cause chaos. And I think it's time for us as black people, we're going to have to take our community back. And we're going to have to do what we have to do, because it's going too far. And don't call me. And I hope you don't see this and get no thoughts, because I will put his ass in jail. I don't mind calling the police and suing. You can check my Google records. But anyway, yeah, don't call me. We really have to do a better job in getting niggas like this in our community out of the community, whether that be incarcerating them or just expelling them or banishing them. And the ignorance, the level of ignorance, and the way that these niggas continuously praise the streets as if the streets have provided health care and jobs.
Y'all, I want y'all to understand, like, there is just packs of these type of people online watching 50, 60-year-old black men talk about how they was doing drugs and selling drugs, and they was in jail for 10 years, and how they was a pimp, and big old goofy square raised in the suburb Negroes be watching these videos, commenting and saying, that's why I don't deal with these 304s, because they love men like you. No, y'all love those men. Women don't love those men. Y'all love those men. Y'all want to hear those stories. Y'all be living vicariously through these reckless men. Do you know what I'm saying? It's very creepy. It's very creepy. And so I always tell people, if you or have a black suburban boy, take him as far away as possible. Put him in the schools and the camps and wrestling and sport. Like, just keep him over here, because there's plenty of goofy over there. And there are black men online in their 30s saying, well, we didn't go get trades or blue collar jobs because the women don't like it. Where is your parents at in your life? Your parents failed. It's failed. These type of people y'all listen to online, we would not listen to them at the cookout. We would not listen to them at church. We would not listen to them in public spaces, because we say, that Negro, the one that went to jail, why is he talking? Please get out of my face. We would not listen to these people. Listen, some of them do want to meet him. That's a whole nother conversation. They were. But let me go here. Let me go to this one. Just go ahead. Some more. I'm so sorry. Some more.
Is no hope for a lot of these niggas from the beginning. Pooh Shiesty has a daddy who was willing to go along with him to commit strong armed robbery, knowing that his son was on federal probation. And a stupid, slow-talking mama who got on the internet and said she raised King Slime. What the hell are you supposed to do when you are nurtured by those two morons and you are the genetic byproduct of those two morons? And y'all might sit up here and say, oh, no, that's just an extreme example using Pooh Shiesty and his parents. No, it's not, especially when you have been in the field and you have had a chance to see it up close. What y'all have to understand is this. The crack babies are in their 40s now. The original OG crack babies are in their late 30s, approaching their 40s. A lot of them have kids who are adults. Some of them might even be grandparents by now. Combine that with declining reading and comprehension and the effects of No Child Left Behind being an act from 2001 to 2015. This is what you get. And I always knew it was bad. I always kind of felt bad for educators. But when I graduated college in 2023 and I had the chance to go into the classroom and I had the chance to see these parents up close and personal and interact with them, a lot of these kids don't stand a chance, man. A lot of kids don't stand a chance. And it saddens me because in every inner city in America, there are hundreds and thousands of Pooh Shiesty mamas and Pooh Shiesty daddies procreating on a day-to-day basis. What the fuck do you expect for the result to be? Hearing Pooh Shiesty mama talk just reaffirms what I already knew. There is no hope for a lot of these niggas.
Now, y'all gonna say, no, Erica, no, not the children. Don't talk about the children. And I want y'all to understand. 9 times out of 10, if I hear how your mama talk and how she move, I already know what time it is. I don't care if your daddy is President Barack Obama. 9 out of 10 times, depending on how your mama move, I already know what's up. I've met several people's moms and I go, oh, poor baby. In my head, I already know. I say, damn, they really didn't stand a chance. Their mama's a damn bird brain. Somebody kept making babies with the bird brain. Jesus. And again, when I hear these men saying these women that I want, what they want is Keisha that's real dumb and fun. Keisha don't got no brains. I mean, they wanted Eddie Murphy's wife. Real beautiful, dumb as shit. Real beautiful, dumb as shit. So you have to realize people are mad because they cannot live out a fantasy with a dumb bod. With a dummy. That's what they're mad at. I wanted more Keishas. I'm so sorry that nothing was available to you but sensible Susans. I apologize. I'm so sorry. It's 80-20 always. It will always be 80-20. If it's just 20% of the, only 20%. Only 20%. Sir, if you think only the hood rat Keishas are the best looking women in the world, you need to have your head examined. You do need to travel the world. You do need to go somewhere. It's real weird. You're real weird. If bus stop booty hanging out Keisha and inappropriate clothes is what you think is the epitome of beautiful women, you really do need help. And there, I remember Obsidian saying, I don't care if I meet a woman with a heart of gold. If she ain't hot, I don't care. And I say, and that's exactly why Philly looks the way Philly looks right now. That's why Philly looks like it looks with trash piled up right now. That's why Memphis looks the way Memphis looks. That's why New Orleans looks the way it looks. That's why parts of Houston looks the way it looks. Because if y'all tell me that's y'all, that's the best. She's the best. If she's the best, that's what your city gonna look like. Good luck with that. Good luck. Okay. Okay. So y'all ask, where do people be? Away from y'all. That's where we at right now. Getting away from y'all. I know y'all don't like it. Why do you think that dude is so popular? This guy right here. This is why he's so popular. Talking about this. Because the average, let's go there, and we're going to say something unpopular again. The average white person who makes $70K a year think they're supposed to be living in suburbs full of white people. Very wealthy. Very wealthy. My wife makes 70. I make 70. We should be living in a McMansion, driving brand new BMWs, and our kids are at private school. I am sorry. That is not reality. And that's why his shit is so popular. He's trying to explain to white people that make barely $50K a year why they don't live in a McMansion. Why they can't travel and vacation as much as their boomer parents. That's who he's explaining it to. He's not explaining it to people who have been poor, people who made more money, people who bought a business. He's not explaining it to us. He's explaining basic math to people who make $50K a year. Okay. $50K a year, and they can't figure it out why they don't live in a McMansion and live in Florida and have a yacht. A small yacht, not a big one, but a small one. They don't know basic math. Come on, man. Come on, man. Y'all already know what time it is. They don't treat Keisha nice. They don't treat Tina nice. They don't treat Suzanne nice. They don't treat none of them nice. But we can do that, save that commentary for another day. But that's why this guy's channel is so popular. He has the ability to explain to white people who think they should be middle class why it's not working. But let's even flip it. I'll go back. I'll go back and forth. I'll go back to blacks. No problem. Here you go. This is a very important commentary. That's why this went kind of a little bit of viral. Here you go.
With 180K, etc. entry, somebody responded and said, my husband actually got this for his brother at Deloitte, etc. And I want to make a key distinction because a lot of people are not answering the question kind of correctly. He said, how many people can have a finance role for your son or for your people or whatever? Having a role and getting him a job is completely different, right? That means that you're putting his name in the application pool. He has to go through this interview process. There could be multiple factors that prohibits that person from actually receiving the job. And why that matters is because we don't have a lot of institutions where this actually applies. I can give you a role. It doesn't matter about this interview process. It doesn't matter about what you know because I already know you're good. It's now about how can I train you? And those type of factors is where a lot of black professionals get caught up in. And I wish that we could answer this a lot more, but we need to have a little bit more of institutions that will support it. This is for black men. How many of us can say to our friends, when your son finishes his MBA, I have a finance role with 180K, etc. entry. Somebody responded and said, my husband actually got this for his brother at Deloitte, etc. And I want to make a key distinction because a lot of people are not answering the question kind of correctly. He said, how many people can have a finance role for your son or for your people, whatever?
So many black people in the comments immediately said, nepotism. Yeah, you dumb bat. Yes, nepotism. Do you have a job for your child or not? This is why when y'all sit here and fantasize about living in Brazil, which is experiencing a lot of violence towards women all of a sudden, and a few of these other countries, y'all fantasize living as a tourist on a vacation. Y'all don't fantasize about your children never having to worry about a job, never having to worry about housing. We just put one of my nephews in one of our rental properties. We just did that. And we're going to put another family member in our other rental properties. They will not have to worry about paying for housing for the next 24 months. That is kind of the family rule. They will not have to worry about it. Now, would they contribute some money? Yes, we could, $500 a month. We just can't let you live there for free. It's the principle of the thing, even though these are paid off properties. We do this to establish the family discount. How can I give them the family discount? Okay. How can I give them that? And we do that via rental properties. The next level of that is via jobs. This mindset that you think you are okay. All right. The fact that you think that you are well-to-do, that you are financially well off, and you cannot give your children a house or a car or a job proves that you are not. And this is what's happening. Everybody is waking up to the fact that they think that they are a wealthy person and they're not. They think that is the key problem that y'all are experiencing in society right now is you cannot give your kids anything. Why should they listen to you? Now you're going to say, Erica, it's not about money. I'm not saying it's just money. If you cannot provide any opportunity to your kids, the frustration and anger they feel at you, they're going other places with it. Okay? Does that make sense what I'm saying to y'all today? If I'm losing you, I'm okay with losing you. I'm all right. I don't care. Right? Like some will get it, not all will get it, and I don't care. Right? I always say this because I want you to understand what's happening. I just want you to understand what's happening. These kids are coming out of college. And the reason you have so many white kids upset is they're coming out with no job. Okay? They're coming out with no job. I was sitting in a Jewish bakery off Far West Boulevard. Y'all know where I'm talking about. You live in Austin, you're there. And I'm eating my sandwich, enjoying. I got a shirt on, a particular shirt. I'm not going to say what was on it. And in there was two white guys. And he was like, yeah, my son's on the way. This white boy, maybe 24, comes in and they start talking. And the two white guys before the son got there were talking about golf and travel and yada, yada, yada. And then the son comes and it switches to almost like a job interview. And they're talking. Now I'm eating the sandwich slow because I'm being nosy. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I was there like this, real slow eating that sandwich so I could be nosy. I'm like, right, okay. And so he's just telling him how he studied and he went to finance classes and he made all these great grades. And he basically was trying to sell himself to the older guy, right? And finally, the older guy goes, "Oh, no problem. We're going to train you on A, B, C, and D. I'm super happy. You know, you're well to do. You speak well. We're ready to go." Okay. And it was like, I was in there just eating sandwiches. I was dipping it into soup real slow. The soup almost got cold. I was in there being nosy so hard. And I laughed because I'm like, that's how it's done. That's how it's done. Hey, my friend is 50. I'm 50. I can't give my child a job, but my friend can give my son a job. And now he can move back to Austin, be in one of the hottest cities and work for one of these capital companies, even though we don't know if he know what he's doing or not. We just know this friend is going to get this job. That's why when people sit here and act like, well, you know, these black people need to work harder. I'm like, y'all don't have nothing for these kids. All the franchise opportunities I've been looking at the past 3 months, because we're doing this leapfrog with our building and all this other stuff. We'll talk about that inside Inner Circle and Land Grab. I know what happens when people get to this level of money. They just start building, or they go invest in things that can produce revenue, whether they're moving it or not. Okay. And so again, when black people are in the comments going, nepotism, so you mean already have money? Nah, these are literally older black people who should be owning things. You cannot be 50, 60, 70 years old black person and mad that what do you mean? Y'all know what the hell he's saying. Do you have a job for the children or not? And here you go again. Black capitalism won't save us. And it's just sad because I know what's happening. Y'all don't want to do better because it will require you to be uncomfortable. There's nothing out here that will not require y'all to be uncomfortable. Nothing. There's no life in this world that you're not going to have to at some point be uncomfortable. You just can't get past that. I don't know how y'all think y'all gonna escape. Somebody said Dan allegedly, so I typed it in the chat. Exactly. Dan, that one dude that moved to Alabama from California. Okay, like you do the math on that, why he did that. And they're white dudes walking around in Walmart clothes talking about how bad things are. And they have 500,000 subscribers and they have millions of views on their videos. Because the average white person is waking up and realizing, I'm not doing well in life. I'm not doing well. Now, what do I have to do better? Is the real question. But they don't want to do that. They're going to stay in New York. They're going to stay in some of these cities. They're going to move in a 55-year-old plus building. They're going to cry about rent control, right? There's a lot of ways I can go with this. I'm trying to be good. Same thing with the kids. When people say, oh, I would love to live in Japan. You know, the first year of kindergarten is for your child. Learning how to clean up. They actually just clean the school, make their own lunch, clean up the lunchroom after they're done. It's all about manners. They don't even learn anything in their kindergarten years. So when people say they want to live in other countries, I just laugh because you would not do what it takes to live in that other country, and you wouldn't want your kids to do it either. So the reason you see Dan allegedly, do y'all know the other guy I'm talking about with the bald head and the goatee? Dyed goatee, he's always talking. I just laugh. I laugh because I already know what it is. They're trying to figure out, like, is everything so bad? No, it's not that it's bad. Everything's bad. The cost of what you think it should be. Again, there's a difference between price and cost. Again, this is where he's going with this. And y'all already knew this, right? You already knew what time it was. There's a difference between price and cost. Everybody wants to know the price of things, but they don't want to pay the cost. What is the true cost? It's lifetime change. When I go get juices from this lady and her husband, you know, when I go get these juices, the husband was 300 pounds. He's 150 now. Super tall, super lean. I mean, he's almost too skinny. And everybody's like, how do you do it? And he's looking them dead in the eye like, I juice. I eat less and I juice. And then they'd be like, well, what else did you do? He'd be like, I worked out. And again, I keep telling y'all, like, I'm not, if you're a man, you naturally have testosterone. That's why you see all these videos of these guys taking steroids. A man can take steroids in 6 months, look like a tank. Okay. Just if he works out every day, you can't miss that part. He'll look like a tank. That's why when I tell women are like, oh, hormones, women are just making excuses. I'm like, no, it's actually important. This is what people are doing. They're making excuses. When the juice man tells you, can you change 1 or 2 days a week? No meat, or can you do this? And people be like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. You know what time it is. Thank you. Somebody said Jeremiah. Yeah, here you go. I left California. No, you left California to go to. Is it Jeremy? Is it Jeremy Bain? What is it? There it is. You left because it was easy to do. And what's funny is he helped Dan allegedly get up. And now Dan allegedly is at 350,000. They don't really talk no more, but that's white people news. Anyway, but if you go here, and this is why I keep trying to tell y'all, the dream that a lot of y'all get on the phone and talk to me about is how can you sit up in your house all day and do nothing? I talk to a lot of y'all, and the number one thing that Black people think is, and some of y'all Asians, I got 2 Asian people that call me and I thought they was playing with me on the phone, but they weren't. How can I sit up in my house and do nothing and money come in every month? And I'd be like, oh, I need to change my messaging on this channel, because that's not what you should be calling me to say. How can I sit in my house and do nothing all day? That's not real. That's not real life. You either need to have a wealth engine that's bigger that puts you in that position, but a lot of you aren't in that position. Let me keep going. I don't want to lose y'all. There's something I could say, but I'm gonna keep it moving. We play this right here. Again, I commented under this because I already know that this is where the marketing against Florida and Texas starts.
And you've seen that, you know, you can get a nice house, you can be in a nice neighborhood, no state tax, you know, a booming economy, one of the largest in the world. I'm going to tell you something very interesting about this state right now of Texas that might make you change your mind on relocating to Texas. Right now, there are 140 data centers in Texas. Why does that matter? Well, these data centers, they use fresh water to cool off their systems. Why does that matter? There's a drought in Texas right now. And we're having the first city run dry in Texas, which is Corpus Christi. So we have 140 data centers that are using up that supply of fresh water, correct? And we have a drought. I want you to understand, what do you think happens when Corpus Christi runs dry? When there's no more water in Corpus Christi, what happens to those people who bought homes or they own property or things of that nature when your city is dry? It's over. So I'm saying that greed will be the downfall of Texas because we're allowing all of these data centers to touch down right here and use our fresh drinking water. I'm out.
Holy smokes, you're not going to believe this, but
If you were thinking about moving to Texas,
Okay, now why do I look at this person? Stop using chat to UIP and AI. I just want y'all to understand, like, I'm not knocking people's hustle. I'm not knocking people's hustle. I know what they doing. I get it. Oh yeah, like I get all this conspiracy. I get it. When you don't understand how business works, when you don't understand how water works, when you don't understand how water plants work, when you don't understand that my friend worked at Samsung as a water, I'm not gonna give her a job title. Let me be careful I say this. When my friend basically worked at Samsung making almost $200,000 a year, turning the dirty water to clean water, putting it back outside. Every one of these facilities will soon be attached to a place because Texas is putting it in the paperwork where they turn the dirty water to clean water and put it back outside. Companies have already been doing this for years. Okay. Here's how I want to tell y'all. The thing about North Carolina is we have the number one well water in all of the country, the whole United States. Number one. We have more wells per square footage than any other state, right? And so people are like, oh, North Carolina. We have companies that do the same thing. We have plants that take the water and put dirty water back out. Sometimes clean it, sometimes don't. We have to make sure they do it. And so my whole thing is people will try to convince you not to move to Texas or Florida because it will be hard. And this is what I'm telling you. They're arguing about a 10-year window where you could go make more money, buy rentals, buy properties, buy investments, change your whole family's destiny and genetic, like the rest of your family's history. Yeah, you shouldn't move because, this one town near the ocean ran out of water. No, don't do that, y'all. Okay. Please don't be slow. I want y'all to understand what's happening. Okay. I just want you to understand what's happening. They're on all cylinders trying to promote to you. Yeah. Don't move to Florida. Oh yeah. They racist down there. Don't move here. The people that are moving to Texas and Florida have money. Right? The people moving to Texas, there's two types. There are people who broke as hell. They're just trying to get there. Okay. They are people, there's over 14,400 houses that were over $1 million that sold last year. It's a record. It beat out during the pandemic. That's why when y'all sit here and argue with me, and if you've seen $1 million house in Texas, go on realtor.com, type $1 million in to the filter, and look at what $1 million house in Texas looks like. Okay. So people that are moving, their children are going to the best schools. They're putting them in private schools and getting them away from your children. They're living a whole different America that you will not live. And I'm telling you, the choice is to grow or die. And people hate that. They're like, Erica, that's so extreme. It's not extreme. It's the truth. If even as my family, we come from a really great family where everybody, it was a farm time. We're like, hey, this farm thing, we busted. We got to go. Everybody went to the military. Everybody went to be cops. And they're living amazingly well. They're living a great middle-class life. Everybody's got rentals. Everybody's got pensions. Everybody's got retirements. What happens to the next generation? Nothing stays consistent. It always either goes up or goes down. Your weight, if you're 55 now, go back and look at your 25-year-old self. You're not the same weight. You may be the same height, but you ain't the same weight. Nothing stays consistent. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. Okay? So if you have kids and you want them to do the same middle class shit you did, you got to throw that playbook away. That playbook your parents have don't work. Go work at a factory for 20 years. Go join the military for 20 years. It's not even the same retirement package. What the benefit of the military is now, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, is to give you job training, is to give you VA loan, and you go to college for free. That's it. It's always been that. A lot of people went and pretended like they were going to go get free college, but they were just going because they didn't know what to do with their life. But if you're real smart, if you are paying attention, and I showed y'all that one military boy who bought 3 houses in 6 years, even if he leaves the military in 10 years, let's say he don't do the whole 20. Let's say he lives in 4 more years. He has 3 rental properties, and he can move to any state he wants with 3 rental properties. Where would he have got that leg up in life? Not his family. Okay. So at some point you have to make the decision here. Okay. I was about to do the hands, but then, my nephew said that's 6'7", so I can't do that no more. Let me pull this thing up I have for y'all. Hold on. Let me find it. I already had it pulled up. I'm gonna take a detour here for a second, talk about energy, and then I'm gonna go to the other post I have for y'all. Because I know y'all be like, no, Erica, don't do it. Women's. Got to do it. Sorry. Prepare yourself.
I check in with my wife. It takes the same energy to be happily married. And in exchange, I get love, I get safety, I get sound business advice. Just today, Jay.
What happened today?
Jay, we negotiated this deal with this TV company.
Okay.
And something's not right. And I'm great at a lot of business, but I'm not perfect on everything. My wife is like, they're going to pass and they want to do something else because XYZ is just not making sense. This is yesterday.
Okay.
Right? She's like, this and that. Guarantee you, Kev, when you finally talk to him, this is what's going to happen. Kid you not, Jay. I had lunch before I came here. The person's like, all right, so it's going to be a pass, but here's what they want to do. And in my head, I'm like, nigga,
right?
This is my wife.
Yeah.
This is her all the time.
The girl in the DM couldn't have told you that.
Nigga, you don't know nothing, girl in the DM. Fat titties, fat butt. I need help negotiating business deals. Titties ain't going to save me $100,000. Fat coochie, boo. Why is this deal not closing? I don't know what a fat coochie is, Jay, but I don't care. Maybe the lips are fat. Maybe they're uneven. I don't know.
Oh my God.
But what I'm telling you is my wife helps me close deals. I'm not giving that up for fat butt. Fat butt. Boo. How do I make this show more efficiently? My wife knows.
Can we make t-shirts that say fat butt, boo?
Bro, y'all missing the thing. If you pour into that woman, she gonna help you negotiate the deal. This is my secret weapon.
Come on.
She know, bro.
It's not secret.
Not so secret. Jay, and she knows me. Like I'm all games and fun, but I low key can be very vindictive and X, Y, and Z.
Can you?
I low key, Jay. I'm kind, but not nice. Like, don't let the jokes fool you. When it comes to that bread, you got to become a hardened businessman to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
She knows when to say, "Oh no, Kev, you need to tap into that part. It's F them." She don't cuss. It's F them. Or you actually got to give on this. You actually got to give more than you think you got to give because it's going to protect you down the line here.
Mm-hmm.
When I want to be too hard, too cutthroat, she's like, "You actually don't need to do that." Every time she's ever done that, it has always been proven right, usually within a week or two. I need help negotiating business deals. Titties ain't going to save me $100,000. Fat coochie, boo.
Okay, I just had to show y'all that because energy, it's all energy. Like I tell y'all right now, the amount of energy I spent looking or going on dates or doing other stuff because I'm with my significant other significantly reduced. Like the amount of cut up time I was cutting up. And also, I'm gonna tell you like this. I've had several people I've done business with, and they were just not good people. And when I have my man around, they're like, oh, they just don't play. They know not to play with me. And I love that for me. I don't know what you need to do for you, but you need to have people on your team that advocate for you in many ways possible. Like this 8th month deal that I'm doing right now, that's going to like put, you know, I'm not bragging to brag, but I'm just saying it's going to put millions in our pocket and move our forward in our life and our family. I just was like, I wouldn't have this much focus if I wasn't so in tune and talking to one person and being like, hey, what do you think? Okay, well, I'm doing this and now I'll go to this meeting. No, don't say that at this meeting. Don't do that, Erica. Do this at this meeting, right? A lot of men that I meet that out here, they're doing big money, millions, they have a wife. Shit, you know, when they make the jokes that, damn, I wish I had a wife, like as a woman saying it. Yeah, because women usually, people are working with you, helping you push the ball down the street. Your attention is not divided. That's how I try to explain people. When you're dating, your attention is divided. And people actually want that. People are so bored in their everyday life that they want to run around all these different countries and try to chase all these different people. And I'm like, God bless you. God bless you. Because that's a life, a stressful one, but it's a life, right? So good luck on that. But I just had to show that because I think people think being wealthy is chasing a lot of inappropriateness, right? And it's not. Let me show this, and then I think I'm gonna go to the whiteboard of truth and justice. Here we go.
Massive shift that is going to impact all business owners. So if you didn't know, Meta makes all their money from paid ads. Last year alone, they did $200 billion from people like us spending money on their platform to get customers. Well, they notified their biggest spenders last month that they were no longer going to allow credit cards. And this is a big deal because most business owners fund their ads on their credit cards to get points and to also carry a balance if needed for cash flow. So not having access to that's kind of a big deal. And people wanted to know, well, how are we going to pay now? Meta just made a massive shift that is going to impact all business owners. So if you didn't know, Meta makes all their money from paid ads. Last year alone, they did $200 billion from people like us spending money on their platform to get customers. Well, they notified their biggest spenders last month that they were no longer going to allow.
Now, what does this mean? What does this mean?
Well, they said, we're going to start issuing credit lines based on your spend history. So for us this month, they actually issued our credit line and it was $1.25 million. And so I was like, whoa, I mean, we don't spend that per month in ads. So I was surprised that it was that big of a line. And I thought it was cool. And I've talked to other friends and, you know, some are like, I don't like it. You know, I don't get my free flights and stuff. For others like me, I'm like, well, I have access to $1 million that I didn't have access to yesterday. And so I think that that's pretty cool. And now I can go use my credit cards for other stuff. So in the end, any change is based on how you see it. But it is interesting for Meta because if people rebel against it, they'll probably have to change the policy because they're going to lose revenue. And I don't know what they're going to do for smaller businesses because you can't give everyone a line of credit because these people aren't credit trustworthy yet. You know, like what if somebody has bad credit? What if they have no, payment history or they've never bought ads before? Like you've got to let them use credit card. Well, they said we're going to start. What if somebody has bad credit? What if they have no, payment history or they've never bought ads before? Like you've got to let them use credit cards. So maybe smaller ad spend, they're going to be okay with credit cards, and bigger guys that have been spending millions with them over the years, they're going to force them to do this because they know that, I don't know, maybe because they got us by the balls that we have to keep spending with them because it gets a return clearly, and that's another thing you guys need to know too. Anyone who spends a lot of money on ads, if you see their ads over and over again, that's a sign that they're making money. Nobody spends money on ads if they're not working. So that's a quick tip as well. But anyways, be aware of this. If you run ads on Meta, you may be getting changed here in the near future. What if somebody
Okay, so what did I tell y'all? There's a reason why I said, you know what, for Remote Man to Millions people, I'm just gonna, way we do our lead gen, we're gonna sell it to a few, maybe 10 of y'all. And it's your page to, the phone number. We're gonna put the phone number in there and do all that good stuff. But there's a way we will work it. And the reason I'm doing it is because I know this is coming. And I know this is coming for certain people. There are some people I know only spend $20K a month, and they were crying. Oh, the whole credit card points is goofy. And I know you're not going to believe me because you're like, no, Eric, I travel. I use credit card points. I buy first class tickets. We are going in a projection in a way that it's like the points are almost useless, right? I know people who have like two of our friends have like $500,000 in points on like Hilton and Marriott, and then $500,000 points over here on Delta and all this other stuff. And I'm always like, oh, awesome. What are you going to do? Well, then they try to use them and it's like 100,000 points. So they can only use them for like 5 times. All right. Some of these hotels, 20, 40,000. I've done it a couple times with Marriott. But I want you to understand what's happening. Like they want direct access to that bank money. They want that bank money. They want the bank money. So the same way Starbucks is one of the biggest banks in the world. I think when the data came out on Starbucks having so much money tied up in those debit card, those gift cards, that Apple Card was like, yeah, steroids. They're giving out Apple Cards left and right for a long time. Now Meta is going to do the same, right? They're going to have a bank. They're going to have a system. They're going to give out credit cards. They're giving out lines of credit. They're essentially making themselves a bank. Invoice receivable. They can go to the banks and get money off that stuff, right? So I just want you to understand what's happening. It's also happening here on Google with Google Ads. Not as much. You still can use credit cards, but there is a lot of changes happening because it's really going to be who really spends that money, who really invests, and who really markets. All right. So I don't think people are ready for this level of conversation if they're not a business owner, but we'll keep it moving. I'm gonna read some of these comments because I see y'all putting some really hilarious stuff in here, so I'm not ignoring it. The same whites who think their life should be a Lexus December to remember. Woo, yeah. Dominant society is getting their ninja wake up call. Yeah, 50 to 70K was a salary in 1996 to 2006. You were doing good if you made that much. Oh, for sure. So imagine people who worked at Dell since 2005 making 120. I got friends who've been in Dawson like that long. And I was like, what have you been doing with your money? Right. And I allegedly is pivoting again. Yeah, they all do. Black people always worry about morals and ethics when our counterparts. Yeah, we're in economic warfare. And I think the thing for a lot of African Americans, if they had to think that way, they would be depressed. If they really think, oh no, I have to make jobs for my children, not just have my children, I raised my kids, I did my part, but really raising kids is you having housing for them and you having money for them. And I remember our friend's parent had died and his dad had left like $500,000. And people were like, yeah, oh my God, your daddy left you money. That's so good. But the fact that their daddy was like 20 years older than their mom and all his kids, like his oldest kid is 24. The rest, I think the youngest is 19. They're going to live the next 40 years without their father. So yes, our one friend that got $500,000, that is great. That is awesome. But $500,000 doesn't replace the power of a parent and a parent being actively involved in your life to tell you what to do with that money and how to navigate life. So, I think if more Black people had to really think about the fact that only have a kid if I can make a job for this kid, there wouldn't be no Black people. Wouldn't be none. All right. Well, good. Congratulations on that, D Brown. Agree. Many are learning meritocracy isn't a real thing, and some of the dominant society are more mediocre than anticipated, which should motivate melanated people to build plastic. And I think that's what you're feeling the rub too. Is a lot of these white people are like, "Oh, I live with all these Black people in my neighborhood. I need to do better. I need to move." No, you're right where you're supposed to be. Well, like 52% of Black people live in the suburbs and rural areas. You're right exactly where you're supposed to be, sir. You're right there. Man, the people talking about communism is just scary to me. They really trying to give up. They really want somebody else to take care of them. That's just all it is. My grandma got me and 6 of my cousins jobs growing up. Congrats, grandma. He is, you know what I'm saying? Like I keep telling you, people think I'm supposed to be at home all day. Shows I'm really got some money. It's crazy to me. It's just not. Jeremiah Bang, Economic Ninja, Dan, they're all the same. Yeah. Now, this is a problem a lot of the fitness influencers are experiencing. There's like 7 of them who came out with, there's 10 of them, I would say, who came out and said, listen, man, I took them steroids. It messed up my sperm count. I was depressed. I wasn't even having sex with my girl. I just film my YouTube videos and go home and lay down. I'm like, and y'all think that's a life? And so now they're all having to pay thousands and thousands of dollars so they can have babies. Now, there's one dude, and I ain't trying to say his name, but it's like his girl came out and said, oh, it's me. I have the problems. It's me. And I was like, nah, you're just covering for the fact that old boy has been on steroids and you're trying to play it off like it's you. So it's like, cool, do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. Doom and gloom. Yeah. If Vegas can figure it out, I know Texas can. Exactly. It's fancy water for purification. It's very fancy. You need a degree and you have to be an engineer. But yes, they didn't. But it sells to say that. Houston put dirty water back into the water supply. Houston's water tastes dirty. I'm just gonna say that. Surprised they never considered the Great Lakes. I think Union's job, the union market in the Midwest, and it took 100 years for us to clean the Great Lakes up, that they're not going to let you go backwards and come tear up the Great Lakes. No. A $600K house in Texas is sick. Exactly. That's why when people talk about, I need $1 million. You do? Have you seen $1 million house? Fun fact, despite racism, Florida has a very high Black ownership and Black business population, more than the blue states. That's very true. It's very true. I don't recommend anybody going to military. Go to the military for 4. I don't recommend anybody do the full 20. Oh, I recommend anyone. Sorry, my bad. What a good woman will do. I mean, again, it's your house together. You work together. Listen, come on. It costs money. Accountability. Listen, the fact that I'll be on a journey, and I tell people this all the time, who wants to stick by your side on a 2 to 4 year journey? Nobody but your spouse and your kids. That's why when I talk to people about going to college, community college, trades, getting a different job, they're like, oh, because what they're thinking in their head is, what happens to my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my family? Will they stay with me on this long journey? Bitch, the journey's for you. It ain't for your family. It starts with you. It starts with you. Do you want to have a better life? You can manufacture spin, but that's a 3.5% loss for Meta. Yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot. Man, if you like Houston water, you like it, I love it. You like it, I love it. Let me see if I got the other one up. All right, let me I'm gonna hit these 2 segments on Africans because I did promise it, and then I'm gonna finish out with the whiteboard. So let's go here. Hope y'all ready. I keep telling y'all they're paying people to come online and distract Black people, and y'all think no. I'm telling you, it's a real thing. You can You know, the bot farms in India, the bot farms in China, the bot farms in Africa. Here we go.
And now we've actually come here to Ghana to try to get the full story.
In the run-up to our journey, we had discovered that all of the accounts were connected to an NGO called Eliminating Barriers for the Liberation of Africa, known as EBLA or EBLA. Looking at the website, it was clear something was off. Parts of it still had dummy text. It was impossible to make an actual donation. And most mysteriously, one of the photographs had a Russian file name. Though the group claimed to be focused on issues like poverty in Ghana, its employees posted almost exclusively about the U.S. Some used incendiary language. America's descent into a fascist police state continues. Someone needs to take that senator out. Often they posted on real U.S. groups, an attempt to gain legitimacy and build an audience. Many even implied they were in America. We all are sick and tired of the violence that's taking place in our communities. In reality, they were here, in a nondescript house on the outskirts of Ghana's capital.
This is the compound where the operation has been based. There's no sign for an NGO. We're about an hour outside of the city, and you can see this is a very secluded residential area. And people here have been telling us that about 3 weeks ago, Ghanaian security services showed up here, raided the building, and no one's been back since.
Sources in Ghana's national security tell CNN that all of EBLA's funding came from Russia. After the raid, the accounts went quiet for a few days. Then on Instagram, the group changed their handle names and started posting again.
Investigating this network of trolls targeting
So
African.
again, when y'all be like, people in the comments like, they do that shit for free. The funniest part about all this, I keep telling y'all, okay? The funniest part about all this is you could pay 10 teenagers to go out and comment, basically spam, all day in America and save yourself some of the money. I know everybody's like, AI. I'm just telling y'all, I'm just saying, you could pay 10 teenagers, 10 young adults, you know, good $15 an hour to work from home, $12 to work from home, and they just go online spamming, basically what they're doing. And another thing is, if you pay attention, Graham Stephan, why did he get in trouble one time with YouTube? Graham Stephan and his staff was literally responding to every single comment. So it kept making his page have all this engagement because people kept going back to interact with Graham Stephan. This is before a lot of the bots took over some parts of YouTube. And at one point, him and some of his staff were logged in at 2 different locations. Usually they were all at the office, but they were in 2 different locations. And YouTube was like, hey, cut it out. You're getting a strike because I know what you're doing. And so I just tell people, you literally could pay, you know, three or four girls on staff to go around in comments going, oh my God, I'm just going to use an example. I love Dre Harden's book, The Fast Way to Money. And now you're going to, you know, and they can post that in hundreds and hundreds of pages, hundreds of Facebook spots and do all this stuff. And you'd be like, damn, I need to go check out Dre Harden's book. Now, what's also going to happen is as you Google Dre Harden, because so many other people are like, who is this person? It pushes it up in SEO. This is old techniques, y'all. These are old tactics. But somebody is paying them, right? The thoughts people have about Black Americans when you go to other countries, that didn't come out of nowhere, okay? They look at these videos online, these girls is posting these hoochie dances they doing, and they look at Sexy Red and be like, God, no, what's going on with Black people, right? That's why O'Shea is so effective. That boy got his own. So I'm not even going to be funny with you. My editor comes from O'Shea. I was supposed to go to Africa and meet him, but I said, no, I ended up staying in Zanzibar and I didn't go over. And I was like, I'm staying in Zanzibar with the group. I'm not applying separately. I'm a little bit scared. And my editor comes out of there. So, you know, when I post these videos and I say stuff about Africans, I know he'd be looking like this bitch. Right? Yeah. Bot farms out of India. Yeah. Big factor, especially in the romance field, says commentary. Some of the girls are a part of an agency, and it's been in the last 4 years or so commenting on Black American news. Yeah. These assaulting AI videos of Black people. Yeah. That's why I just tell y'all, when Black people live well, people are shocked because of the news that they are watching and they're commenting under. Right? When Nick Shirley went and talked about them Jewish people stealing, people were like, what? Oh my God. Let me go here. This is what's going on right now. Now, if y'all don't know, France, they cut France off. France used to give this one African country $1 billion a year. And everybody's like, wow, you know, I wonder how much they're making off of it. They were making $18 billion and giving this African country $1 billion. I mean, it was exploitation at the highest. So now, of course, this African country has cut off France and encouraged its neighbors to do so as well. And so they're taking the $6 billion because, you know, the people still want to buy the items from these African countries, but they got to work directly with them. So instead of paying them the money they were paying France, they're like, look, we'll pay you half because y'all in all this conflict. It's costing us all this insurance money. Now we beefing with France. So they got $6 billion. Guess what's happening in these African countries all of a sudden? Roads and stuff. You know, they love blaming like, well, the British did all this stuff and Blacks never kept it up. No, they've been robbing it.
In her own words.
This Black woman donated 2 bags of concrete just because she sees how all the work they're doing is doing. But anyway, let's keep moving.
I liked the initiative. That's why I made my contribution. I'm really happy to be here and to contribute. For those who haven't yet made their contribution, they should hurry and come give.
My friends, this spirit, this level of citizens building their own nation with their own hands, is something incredibly rare in the world today. This is genuine nation building carried out by the people themselves, showing the deep love they have for their country and for the leader guiding them.
Now, just in case you don't know, for context sake, Burkina Faso is an African country and they've been underdeveloped for the last 50 years. And as around 2022, a young man, Ibrahim Traore, a military man, you know, he stood up, took over the country, and now he's leading the country to greatness. And one thing he has, just take a look at this video of Burkina Faso.
The roads Ibrahim Traore is building every single year are longer, far longer, than everything the French managed to build in 50 years in Burkina Faso. The results speak for themselves. Smooth, wide, modern roads. Highways that look just like what you'd expect in fully developed nations. But here's the part that truly blows people away. All of this is being built without the outrageous costs that usually come with foreign contractors across Africa. Contracts that often fail to deliver the results people expected. Instead, everything you're seeing in Burkina Faso is being built by Burkinabe themselves. From the president personally operating this massive road machine, to ordinary citizens manufacturing pavement blocks used for the roads. Even young children are participating. And the soldiers are out there too, adding their contribution. Even the mothers of the country haven't been left behind. Just watch this woman pushing a wheelbarrow filled with sand. Part of her support for the national effort.
Le Burkina Faso, c'est nous. Aujourd'hui, c'est à nous de le construire. Pour notre pays, je m'engage à aider ma patrie.
Can't build modern roads without cement. This elderly woman.
Okay, that's all. I just want to show y'all that. Because you're like, why are all these places looking so terrible? Well, you have to have the actual people who are focused on fixing it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I was trying to say, y'all. I just like half the time when I'm seeing the comments and people be like, you're being mean and harsh, I just go, man, y'all life is cooked. Cooked. Hey, man, listen, the algorithm loves the drama. It loves it. They love it. The algorithm loves it. So again, all that to show you like all these roads and all this stuff can be improved in a year or two if you throw money at Africa. I mean, and really there's no incentive for these Eastern European countries to fix Africa, because if they fix it, they'll demand equal money. Give us the money that you're supposed to give us. And they don't want Africans to know how much money they're supposed to give them. Oh, of course not. Never that. Let me show you these two things. Again, this is just where things are going.
This is how I use my Cirrus Vision Jet to go places. Let's say we wanted to fly up to Wichita. I enter the airport I want to fly to, and ForeFlight will recommend a route commonly approved by ATC. Next, I'm ready to run weight and balance. Let's say I'm bringing my wife and 5 kids on this trip. I enter everyone's weight and where they'll be sitting on the plane. Then I can figure out how much fuel I'm able to bring without taking off overweight. I enter my weight and balance and some weather data like atmospheric pressure, and the computer shows me performance numbers like takeoff distance. Then the flight computer shows me a passenger brief, including the parachute system and auto land feature, some aircraft limitations, and then I'm all set. I feel good about my numbers, so it's time for my pre-flight walk around. I remove the plane's protective covers, take a close look at the engine using the Cirrus Pirate Salute method, and take a fuel sample. Now, let's go fly.
You go here. Pause. And this one.
We're in beautiful Panama City Beach, Florida. We're heading back to Sacramento. It's going to be a long day. Come join us on our first leg to Oklahoma. Thanks for watching.
Now, why am I showing you this plane? This plane, they call it the minivan of private aviation. If you remember, a lot of people having this. And they have this style of plane. It is going to be more common than you think. A lot of people are saying, you know, the airport's gas. The people crying are not the people who can afford to travel. Now, they may not always travel via these type of planes, but they will do a combination, right? Same thing here with this guy. I'm really tired of him crying all the time, but y'all love him, so I'm gonna play him one more time, a little bit, just a minute of it.
Well, welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist. I've been investing in real estate for 8 years. So I want to talk about why people making $400,000 plus still feel poor in 2026. So I see this every day, and it's not quite what you think. And it definitely struck a chord with me because my wife and I together, we're roughly about $450K W-2. That's and we still feel broke and we still feel poor. And we have to kind of change our mindset in regards to this. But let me say why people making over $400,000 still feel poor. I've met doctors who make $600,000 to $1 million. They feel poor. They feel broke. So basically it tells me even if I double my income, I'll still feel broke. I'll still feel poor. So that kind of tells me that it's kind of a mindset. It's kind of a scarcity mindset. It's a lack of abundance. And maybe it's a comparison trap where, yes, maybe you're making $1 million, but maybe you just finally got your doctor job after grinding for 15 years. You're 35 years old and you don't have a house yet. You don't have any assets yet and you feel behind, but now you're making $1 million. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. But let me share some angles as to, I think, why high income earners still feel broke, myself included. So I'm doing this video for you guys, but I'm also talking to myself, as I always do, right? This is my form of therapy. But, you know, obviously the first one is taxes. So obviously I live in California. We have state income tax. We have federal tax. So if you're making, let's say $1 million, half of it goes to taxes already. Like I believe my tax rate's around 37, 40%, something like that. So yes, on paper, you're grossing $1 million, but after taxes, especially at that income bracket, you're taking home half goes to Uncle Sam.
Okay, I'm positive there. He's such a whiner to me. He's such a whiner. And I know people love his show. They're like, Erica, he's a pharmacist. Y'all, I worked with 3 pharmacists from Florida. Okay, I'm just going to say this just because I have to go and get it. I personally worked and counseled for 3 months, 3 pharmacists out of Florida. And every single one of them saw people in real estate doing better than them and was like, what I got to do? I was like, all right, let's go to this 3 banks. Let's go get this many properties. Let's get some turnkey stuff. And by the end of the time, I was working with them for 90 days, baby, they all were like, this is amazing. I have an extra $8,000 in income out of these rentals, Erica. I'm like, yeah, that's it. Like it's all perspective. It's all mindset. And it's all, a lot of people, like I went to medical school and I should feel like people should be so respectful, right? Like back in the day, if you grew up, doctors were like, oh God, you're a doctor. People don't have that level of respect. And I think that's more of what people want. They're upset that they don't get the level of respect of like, oh, you're a doctor. Oh my God. And you'd be like, I don't care that you're a doctor, right? And then a second thing too, Listen, come on. D is saying it. It's funny how she's saying it, but many Asian people complain on YouTube. They feel entitled because they can do math, so they should rule the world. But they know the power of math. And so when you sit here and I tell you, hey, you and your wife together make 400,000 a year, you make, I'm talking about 10x. Shit, is it 20x? Or the average family's making 50, 60, and you're making 400,000 with your wife. You may feel like you should have more. You should be going on vacations every 2 minutes. You shouldn't even be at your job. The only people I know live like that are people without kids. The 2 pharmacists I know that don't have children, and they'll work a month on, a month off. Or really, he does like 3 weeks on, 2 weeks off. He's been doing that for years. And the company he's with don't care that he do it because they're so behind on pharmacists in that part of Georgia. Okay? So I just want you to understand, like, a lot of people are upset because they want a completely different life, but they don't want to change to get the life. They don't want to eat different to get the life. They don't want to, you know what I'm saying? They don't want to do anything to have a different type of life. So it of course, oh, Erica, you don't understand. It's so hard because I make this money. And I'll be like, listen, baby, stop it. Save that shit for somebody who want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? It ain't me. So let me go here. They are the worst. It makes sense because most doctors have that talent mindset that rather delegate their money responsibilities and focus on their profession. Yeah. 400K and struggling. But that's why I say when people, and also if you watch his channel, I don't know if y'all are familiar with him. He bought a bunch of rentals that were C and D list properties out of town. And to me, it's because he's Asian and he's greedy. And y'all gonna be like, Erica, that's wrong. No, I gotta say it. Most time when I meet Asian people, they want to go in Ohio, Indiana, Memphis, the hood of the hoods, Houston, and buy a $20 property and be like, I can't believe these Negroes ain't paying their rent. Can you believe that? I can believe it. It's the shittiest places you went. There's a group of Hawaiians I met. Half of them were mostly Asians. They bought like 100 properties in Saginaw, Michigan. And the first thing I said is, why the hell are you in Sag Nasty? I'm not even from Michigan, and I know not to invest in Saginaw, Michigan. Well, they say they got great returns. And so that whole group of Hawaiians was crying and carrying on about how bad the tenants were in Detroit and Saginaw, Michigan, and what should they do. And everybody in that group was like, invest in very boring properties, not in Saginaw, Michigan, or not in Flint, or not in Detroit. Simple as that. Take your money and invest elsewhere, right? And so you have groups of people who, I'm so smart, I saved all this money, I should be living, Robert Leach lifestyle luxury. And that's just not true. That's not true. You're not in touch with reality. You're not really out here touching the ground. And that's the problem, right? There's whole Instagram pages dedicated to helping doctors make more money. They're whole pages. Yeah, man. Congrats on that pilot journey. Let's say we need to take into account that doctors have to battle the insurance companies to get paid. They do, but 9 times out of 10, they have 5 girls on staff battling insurance to get paid. He's a pharmacist. Let's really be clear there. You're talking about doctors who, if they have high cost surgeries, yes, they'll have to battle insurance. If they have a office of their own, they have to battle the insurance companies. But 9 times out of 10, they have 5 to 10 girls delegated to just playing on the phone with insurance companies all day. Ask me how I know. I got a cousin who works in the office. That's all they do is call insurance companies all day, fight with them. But if you go look at Steven, he's, lost his job more than once. He's just kind of a crybaby. And it's just kind of crazy. But, he's got these 90 units and they're the shittiest units you've ever heard of. Everybody that ever talks to him tries to give him counsel, tries to tell him. They tell him to sell the units. They tell him, you picked crap, sell them. But people love his channel. They love what he's talking about. I just, I get it, but I don't. So, cool. Kudos to them. And here's the one I think y'all should be following. I'm going to go meet him here soon. This is Cameron Burke. He's like 26. He's just running around flipping houses, catching units. 70 units by 24. That's one of his students. But I mean, I'm just telling y'all, like, you can go buy in cheap areas in the Midwest and Oklahoma City and some of these places where ain't nobody doing nothing. It's kind of a retiree town. right? No young people are like, let me break my neck to get to Oklahoma City, right? And you can make money. So these are some people you should follow instead, is my recommendation. Now let me get over to this whiteboard and Truth for Justice and get on out of here, finish this up for y'all. What time is it? I done went way over my time. Shit. I'm gonna have to break this up. I'm gonna break this up. All right. So here is like the overarching way to describe what I've been talking about somewhat. I've been all over the place. Stabilize, growth, stabilize. A lot of people think I'm just going to start growing. I'm going to start driving Uber. I'm going to start driving Lyft. I'm going to make all this extra money, but you're not stabilized. So by the time I talk to you, everything's out of whack. Everything's all over the place. Everything's struggling. All right. And I just think sometimes when you talk to people, that's the problem, right? That's truly the problem, is they're trying to make more money, but they haven't sat down and just did the math on where they are, right? And so that's just something I want y'all to understand. All right, so let's go here. Now I'm using real estate as one of them, but at the top I even use online business, e-com, reinvest, right? We can go a million ways with this conversation, but this is just easier. It's just easier. Okay. So let's go here. Wholesaler, flipper, builder, GC developer. Whenever you get to here, and I should have made it 160. My bad. I should have made this 160. Because somebody's gonna read this and be like, 120, Erica. Relax, 160. Pharmacists can make that in Georgia. They can make it in Florida, depending on what part of the state you're in. Okay. So if you make that amount of money, right? And once you get here, and I'm being not disrespectful, if you're insurance, you're sales, you're whatever you are, and you make this amount of income, at this point, it's just paperwork. If you already make this amount of income, it's just paperwork. Please don't get lost in, I need to go do this new thing. No, you really just need some paperwork to either buy a business with SBA. You're putting 10% down, 90% is covered by SBA. And then you're like, Erica, but I don't have 100K saved. I don't have 50,000 saved. Well, you need to work with a business partner. Simple as that. You're not going to be able to buy stuff with no money at all. You have to almost do ninja-like moves to get deals with no money. Can you do deals with no money? Okay, all the time. But you're going to have to show a track record. Two things happen when you buy a business. One of y'all is either going to be in that business, working on it, reviewing stuff. How's it moving? What's the payroll looking like? And the other person is just the money. So think accordingly. Do you have a person in mind to help you run this? Or are you the money, or are you the person going to be running this place? And when I mean running it, I don't mean you're going to be the manager that come in there. I don't mean you're going to be over everybody every day. I mean 4 hours a week. Friday, Saturday, can you review the books? Can you see what's going on in the office? Can you have a talk with the guy who's running the place, which is usually the general manager, shift leaders? That's what I mean, right? So you have to figure that out. Or if you buy a farm, same thing. Is this a weekend farm? Who's on the farm Monday through Friday, for a few hours a day, checking on the chickens, checking on the horses, checking on the whatever animals is already on this farm. If you buy beach rentals, who's the rental company that takes over it? If you do a micro resort, is it a micro resort for RVs? Is it A-frames? Is it cabins by the lake? Is it pre-built stuff? Like, what is who's running this place, right? Who's running this place? Because I'm gonna show you before I finish this. Hold on. The two I want to show you for farm, because when people think farm, they think I mean like this dramatic. I don't mean this dramatic. Now, this is the decision this group of friends are making. You're gonna see a lot more white people and black people do this. Like, let's just move to the middle of nowhere where it's cheap and we can live on $2 a year. And they're gonna make money though. Here we go.
In growing a lot of food in a small space and putting all of our resources into a small amount of soil, taking care of it well. And these tools help us to be really productive we just have a little over an acre of land. Our farm is off grid and it remains off grid. We do like this lifestyle. It's very connected to nature. Last year, we produced over $250,000 worth of food in one season. So, our farm is really productive and especially being on a steep hillside that people wouldn't consider farmland. There's a lot. We produce a lot here. We've chosen to invest in growing a lot of food in a small space and putting all of our resources into a small amount of soil, taking care of it well. And these tools help us to be really productive we just have a little over an acre of land.
So again, they're telling you they got a 1 acre homestead. They living in these little poo-poo cabins in Vermont. Vermont's cold as hell in the winter. I love Vermont in the fall though. And they making money. Okay. This 1 acre land puts about, 50,000 to 100,000 in their pockets. They doing all right. But you need somebody who connected to farms, connected to restaurants, connected to places where you can sell these goods, even farmers market. You need to be able to be connected. If anything, you need a website where you can ship and farm food to people via FedEx, UPS, any of these places. And that's what I wanted to say on that. But a lot of people think, oh my God, a farm, I'm going to be there night and day Hebrew slaving. That's just not true. That's just not true. And this is spot on. Doctors are bad with money because instead of paying off that debt, they want to live like doctors as soon as they get that license. That part. Because it takes them so long to get it. It takes them so long to get it. Here's the other one. Also, why you need to check up on any business you buy and if you buy it from immigrants.
It's literally a scanner. We could call the police right now. Look, this is the real one.
There, don't do that. Don't do that. Okay? Don't do that. What happened?
This is a scammer. You know what this is, right? This is illegal.
Give me a second. Let me call the police.
So remember yesterday I told y'all somebody stole all my bank information. Right here. Right here.
You know what that is?
What happened? What are you doing? Oh, snap.
So you know how you check your whole desk?
Why? Because we're not up here.
Yep. And yep, you sure do. That's a scanner.
Be careful, y'all. Look. Look. You see that shit?
This one is the overlay that captures your data when you type in your button.
Why are you holding it down so hard? Look. It's literally a scanner. We could call the police right now.
Okay, so the reason I show you this is a lot of people have overlooked gas stations, overlooked these small stores, don't think they're important. And I'm just telling you, they're making millions and millions and millions of dollars a year. All those bodegas in New York, all those little places. This is why when people say, oh, let's just all go digital, Apple Pay, this, I'm like, are you crazy? I don't go into the gas station. I use my credit cards at the pumps. I use my credit cards more often now. I only have a couple. And I just pay back because the credit card companies will fight fraud for you. American Express will bring your whole body back if you die overseas. Okay. They'll fight for you. So I just tell people, like, have one credit card you use for all the Amazon purchases and have one card you use when you're out and about. Now you can skip all this together and use cash. I like using cash because people be looking slow. Like they be looking real turtle. Like, oh my God, she brought out a $20 bill, a $50 bill. Oh my gosh. And they always tell me about, sorry, we don't have pennies. I'll be like, I don't care. Round it up. That's on your company, not on me. But back to the chart. I hope y'all understood that. Okay. So micro rentals, home health care, business, any of these can be purchased when you have this level of income. And you may say, Erica, that's not a lot of income. It's a lot of income. If you're crying that this is not a lot of income, you're either in New York or LA. If you're crying it's not a lot of income, I bet you got car payments. If you're crying it's not a lot of income, I bet you and your wife got car payments. If you're crying it's not a lot of income, I bet y'all got your kids in private school. Every time you get to this level, you shouldn't be talking to me 10 years in a row. You've been making 150 and y'all ain't got nothing to show for it. And what is nothing to show for it? No rentals, no properties, nothing paid off. That's crazy. Now, how can someone get to this level? Let's say they're not at this level, but they're at this level. If you're going to be at a wholesaler level, you're doing 5 to 10K. And you're pretty much starting over every month. You're doing a lot of phone calls. You're doing a lot of legwork. Now, the wholesalers can kind of become flippers because sometimes they get stuck with a deal. Now they just got to play around with the credit cards. And in about 6 months, they'll make 30 to 40K off that house. Flipping is very hard right now in a marketplace where if you got high interest debt you playing that game with, you better pre-sale that thing, right? Now, the builder is going to have that same 6 months and can make 100 to 250,000. Few more steps, owning the land, are tearing down the house that's on the land. A few more steps. Now, if it's a luxury property, they can go around and get 200,000 to 400,000, but it'll take 8 to 11 months. Again, what did I tell y'all? If I ask somebody what they're doing in August right now, they don't know. They start to panic. They start sweating that I'm asking them what they do in August. They got kids. Your kids gonna be in school. That's what you're doing in August. Why are you acting real slow like you don't understand what you're going to be doing in August? So that's why I tell people when people have to think, wholesalers in my mind think month to month. Flippers, they think half the year. Builders, they think year after year. Because 9 times out of 10, they know if I build, careful how I say this, if I pick up one land lot a month over the course of a year, and I start building all of them, they're staggered. That means probably in about 6 months, every month after the 6 months, I'm going to have something selling. I'm going to have 100K coming every month after that. That's why you have to have people who are able to think. They're able to think vertically. They're able to think across time, across a year, across 2 years. Because if they can't do that math, they're going to have a bad life anyway. Okay. So now the person that's always building is like, well, why don't I do bigger? Why don't I make a subdivision? Or why don't I grow my construction company? Again, right now, government contracts, roads, highways, schools, KFC, Starbucks, bid boards. If you've been in my Middleman to Millions class, I showed you the 7 sites where you can put your company on there, put your projects on there, get jobs. The next level to that is some of the lead package I'm going to offer to that group. But it's like your phone can be ringing every day, all day if you want it to be. And you could be in motion. That's kind of why I know in about 4 weeks, I'm not going to be on here as much, just because we have stuff that's already in motion, rolling. And I'm like, shit. Okay. Like I have a film guy coming to spend some of the summer with us. I have the drone. I already know how it's going to be, but I'm just telling you now, once it starts getting into a tumbleweed motion and you have it stacked on stacked on stacked, it's amazing. Right. But the point of it is not just to say, oh, I'm going to keep building all these houses every year. I'm going to keep doing everything, because the economy goes in 2 to 3 year cycles. We've been in a recession for 2 years. I'm telling you, I'm sitting on phone calls with people who are building apartment complexes, and they're starting to gear that up. Now you're going to say, why would they build apartment complexes? This is a terrible time, because it's going to take them 18 months between the city, the state, the local, the land, the planning. It'll take about 18 months for that to get done. That's why people like building houses quicker, in and out, duplexes, fourplexes. People always need somewhere to stay. Teachers always need rentals. And again, I keep telling y'all, you're going to see a more smaller subdivisions, because it'll only be 4 or 5 luxury homes in that subdivision, or 6 luxury homes on an acre apiece in that subdivision, or 8 homes on one street, right? Like that neighborhood will be high income but smaller. And that's where we're all kind of going towards, not just me as a builder, but a lot of people. If you're paying attention to high level luxury in building, they're taking over certain areas, and like only houses in that area will look like that. All the kids will go to that particular school will be from parents who live in those type of homes. That's where it's going. So how do you stabilize? How do you build out a future where you're not chasing money? Because there are just seasons to this. You're not going to work like a Hebrew slave for 20 years of your life. You're not. And a lot of y'all like, Erica, I work my job. My job's hard. I'd be like, girl, stop lying. You at your job on Facebook all day. It ain't that hard. It's stressful, but it ain't that hard. So how do you break free? 2 or 3 duplexes, a home healthcare business. A lot of people's retirement is not going to be this big pile of money at the end. It's some business that they run that kicks them off every money. Right. I told y'all when I was in Las Vegas, we met 2 little older ladies, and they had a contract with the food services in the arena. Then they also had 2 group homes. Now, how did they have 2 group homes? They both had a house. One moved in the house with her, right? With the other one. And they turned the other house into a group home. They made so much money, they turned around and rented the other house out as a group home and bought a new house. Okay. Because they both 2 little old ladies. What was they going to do? Okay. And that's their retirement. Them ladies traveling, they're going gambling, they're doing whatever in Las Vegas because they have 2 group homes. You get $3,000. I think they're getting $4,000 per adult, and they got 5 adults in each house. You're talking about 2 ladies getting $40,000 a month. Now, why am I bringing that up? Because older generation, $10K was a lot of money for them. So even if they just have those 2 group homes and they never get any more, they're like, we balling. We living large, okay? And that's what our younger generation doesn't recognize. We're looking online all day, looking at vacations and private planes and living well, and not realizing what's fueling that. Even Cam Newton, who made 120 million while he was out there, Cam Newton was like, oh my God, like he felt trapped, right? Loud wealth makes you trapped because all these people think you should be buying them stuff. You should be sharing money. You should be balling out. Silent wealth, which people have weird descriptions of it, is just, hey, I'm going to just keep stacking. And then I live fun. I live a life I enjoy. But when people are loud with the wealth, that traps them. That's why I told y'all the other day when I saw them people in Mercedes with Amazon package delivery on the side of the car, driving Mercedes with Spectrum on the side of the car, you installing Spectrum in people's houses in a Mercedes, you driving pickup trucks and Dodge Chargers, dropping off Amazon packages. That's poor planning. That's just basic math failure. That's why I keep seeing 30-day tags on little baby cars, because everybody's trying to hear them go get one of them little baby cars so they can save some gas money. I know what time it is. You ain't fooling me. Shit, I had a little car. I'd drive it all the way to Dallas and drive it all the way back to Austin, and I didn't have to fill up the tank. Okay, baby, I had a good old time. So that's what I have for y'all. I know this is a lot of content. I know this is a long video. I'm going to chop it up just like I have 2 more sets of videos to chop up, and we'll just have that posted out here. Listen, that's first thing I talk to. If you have 8 kids to support, you do feel trapped. You got to keep working. That's why I keep telling you, the black people fantasy that you're going to sit at the house and do a bunch of nothing all day is crazy. Like, even white people that make money don't think they're going to sit at the house all day and do nothing. That's not realistic. Your granny still got up and did stuff every day. You know, maybe she did the garden. Maybe she babysit some kids. She watched the stories. She made sure you got off the school bus, but she didn't sit around and do nothing. That's fantasy. She didn't sit around and do nothing. There's a reason these stations are starting to require 150 minimum hold to get gas. A lot of schemes, a lot of skimming and fraud going on. Facts. Did y'all have any other questions, comments, or concerns? It's been a long show. Drop them in the comments or drop them after the show closes out. I know all y'all don't stay the whole time, and that's okay. But I just know I have a lot. We did a long talk right here. So I appreciate y'all being on here. But yeah, it's been crazy. It's been crazy. So y'all have a great day. Y'all have a great afternoon. And I'll see y'all on Wednesday, Thursday for the classes that have training. For those who don't, you don't. All right, you guys. Later.
Hi, I'm Brandy Williams, founder of Williams Accounting and Tax Services in McDonough, Georgia. We're a full-service accounting firm proudly serving clients nationwide, including military families and U.S. expats. With over 20 years of experience as an IRS-enrolled agent, we've got you covered from past tax returns to business services and strategic tax planning. Visit WilliamsActTax.com. Let's get connected and take your finances to the next level.